And we see a couple of players back in the Crows lineup too. Troy Bond disappointingly missed most of the last half of last year with a shoulder. He's back. You'll probably see him on and off the bench. And Simon Goodwin is a very highly rated player, this young fella. You probably see him off the half-back line, but very, very silky skills.
There's 4 first-year players in the Crows lineup, so they're certainly below full strength, with a lot of their premiership players missing. Brisbane going into this game slightly the favourites, but maybe the conditions will favour the Crows. Back soon. It was quite a muddy centre wicket area. Wasn't that long ago they played the Sheffield Shield final here. It is light drizzle at the moment and 16 degrees expected and about 13 mils of rain. Matty Campbell joins us in the commentary. Gee, you've had more than your share of rain up here lately.
Yes, we certainly have, but admittedly it is going to be a tough night for them, where the ground is pretty heavy out there.
And Curls, you're going to have a terrific night out there in the open.
Who conned this phrase up here? Was it beautiful today, perfect tomorrow or something? But it's not a good one actually down here. And I've been able to look at the centre area. It's very muddy, very wet, so it's going to be a real bung fight tonight with a lot of strength being applied by a lot of players that gain the ball. Hard one to win, this one.
Thanks, Curls. Yep, the marketing guru, I think, came up with that one.
Well, your weather conditions are going to test both sides, Drew, but the Crows' record in the wet has been pretty good.
Mark Bickley won the toss for the Crows, and they'll be going right to left in the first quarter, and there's some dirty shorts straight away. White gets the first kick of the game, a high ball short of half forward, good punch from behind, and I think we might see a lot of this scrambling at ground level tonight. And Darren Jarman was in there, took a long time to get a touch last week, can't give him a possession for that, at least he's got his hands on the leather.
Well, he started in the centre of the ground, which is a bit unusual.
Here's White again, sliding. Just about a rugby tackle. Up towards the 50. A juggle, a soccer off the ground by McRae. Voss on the forward line. Great to see the Brownlow medalist back. He took a bit of a crunch there, the whistle's gone, and it's his free kick.
Well, they've started Michael Voss forward, and interestingly too, Clark is in the forward pocket. Just the replay and just a little bit of exuberance or over-exuberance from Simon Goodwin just took him high, but Clark in the forward pocket and Keating starting on the ball.
Voss for the first score of the game. Light drizzle at the Gabba. A beautiful looking kick. Full points.
Well, he's a good player, isn't he? He's so important to Brisbane. He's over the ball. He's got very, very good skills, and his kicking is tremendous. And that's exactly the start the Lions wanted. If you compare last week, Port Adelaide ran away with it. And just watch the three again. He's got his head over the ball. Getting it forward was McRae, and that's the only thing you can do. And Simon Goodwin just a little bit unfortunate, but the high contact was there. Magnificent kick.
Now, Curls, I'm calling this a drizzle, but you're out in it. You'd probably say it's a bit heavier. What about the interchanges?
Interchange for the Brisbane Lions. 15 Lawrence, 20 Black, 39 Notting, 48 Calthorpe.
Well, we're back in the middle now as it's Boyd hands it off there to Notting. Not to Notting, that was Ashcroft. Dribbles it out. Meeting it first and kicking it and just making the boundary line was Mark Stevens for the Crows. So a ball up right in front of the 7 commentary position on a very wet Gabba night. And both teams will be looking to get off to a good start. I spoke to both camps. Even with this wet rain, even more important this evening. Keating in the ruck. First game back in quite a long time. Here's McLeod. Back into traffic. James and Lambert. That should be a fantastic duel. Trying to keep it in again was McLeod, but over the boundary line. Jared Molly grabs hold of his finger there. It's popped out.
Early candidate for boot in that.
Yes.
The wet rain.
Sorry?
The wet rain.
The wet rain?
I like it.
I like it. It works for me. Wet weather, perhaps. Speaking of wet weather, we're back with it. Going to ground was Danny Dickfoss, and he'll come up with the free kick.
Well, if you put yourself in front, you have a chance to get the free kick on a night like tonight.
Punch down by Smart, comes to Boyd. White, been quiet over the last couple of weeks, doesn't do much with that kick. Quick little handball from Lappin to White. Lions working it forward. Here's a chance for Voss again. Can't get his kick away. Good tackle by Simon Goodwin back in the side. And as you can see, the rain is quite heavy here at the Gabba, and scoring will be very difficult.
And you just do not need to finesse on a night like tonight. You can see it pelting down. Just get the ball forward as quickly as you can.
Umpires throwing it up. Clark has dominated hit-outs this year, but it comes to McLeod. He goes to the construction side of the ground. It mightn't quite reach the boundary line and go out at half-back flank. Lappin, first one there for the Lions. They have the only score of the night. McRae on his chest inside the 50. And Craig McRae has it about 45 metres out.
Well, he just keeps bombing up, Craig McRae, doesn't he? He's a goal scorer. He's a beautiful kick with that left leg, and fortunately just dropped into the space, and the ball came forward or came back to him. No one close enough to him to affect the spoil.
So McRae taking his time over this. Goals might be at a premium tonight. First two would be handy. And that's away to the left. No, he got it. Gee, not a bad kick.
Sunday night.
You love having the power of God at your fingertips.
Imagine if the world's deadliest weapon fell into enemy hands. And what if the enemy turned out to be one of your own?
You're out of your mind. Ain't it cool?
What would you do?
We got ourselves a broken arrow.
Broken what? What we call it when we lose a nuclear weapon.
John Travolta and Christian Slater.
I don't know what the big deal is. I really don't.
The action premiere.
God damn, what a rush.
Broken Arrow, Sunday, 8:30 on 7.
So Craig McRae in the action early, and the Lions off to a terrific start. Goals are probably worth 2 tonight as Boyd gets it quickly out of the centre. Out to the outer side. Here is Nigel Smart having trouble picking it up. Lappin again involved. That's some sort of handball back to Lambert. He has still got good skills in the wet. Over to Richard Champion. His shot from 40 to the goal square. Keating's there. Malloy can't get it off the ground. Has another go at it. Handball to no one in particular, and getting back and punching it through for a rush behind. The Crows doing well there, but almost a chance there for Malloy.
Well, they're under pressure, the Crows. They just have to steady here, and Lee Matthews going with his tall forward line despite the weather. He's got Clark in the forward pocket and Keating having an influence. And the Crows have not been forward of centre yet.
So Bassett to take the kick in. Looking for Pittman. Clark behind him. Pittman does well. The ball was dropping short already, and Pittman was in the front spot. And that's the spot to be. Doesn't mess around with it. Gets the long kick, but only as far as Adam Huskus. He takes an easy mark. On to McRae. This is his third possession already. Long left foot kick. Right to the goal square. Going back, Bassett. Champion off the ground. Lions have their third.
Well, this is the start, and Keating now in the forward pocket. They're going long. Craig McRae has got that beautiful left foot kick that carries the ball long. Keating makes the contest. Good play by Huskus, though. The handball to McRae, and with his penetrating kick, Champion, you can see him running from centre-half forward. The ball came off hands, and Nigel Smart just not being able to get between he and the goals. A fairly easy goal for Richard Champion, starting at centre-half forward. And danger signs for the Crows at this early stage of the match.
Craig McRae already has 4 kicks. Clark wins again in the middle. The Lions getting first hands on the ball. And this is as far forward as the Crows have been so far. And the Lions have 3 goals to 0. That's in the back. And the free kick to Danny Dickfoss. Back he comes. Boyd. Cross half back. On the bounce to Lepich, who waited for it, and it was almost costly. But the Lions still have it through Darryl White. White, right half back. Up towards centre wing. A little skim. Lappin read it well. And handled beautifully, but gave it up to Jarman. Jarman, a high ball to half forward. Dickfoss. Very slippery ball. You can make excuses for them tonight. On all fours, the hand pass comes out from Tyson. O'Brien, just outside the 50 to Ashcroft. Awkward spinning ball up towards centre wing. They're fighting each other for the ball. Malloy has it. The hand pass in, good to Lambert. Lambert in a bit of space. Ill-directed kick, but it bounces onto the 50. Voss showing the touch that we know he has. We haven't seen it for a while. McRae on fire. Kick dropping short. Keating's there. It goes towards the forward pocket. Champion gives chase, but Bassett helms him and the ball over the line.
Yes, one of Malcolm Blight's decrees is that the defenders must be in front of their forward line opponents, and he would be a little bit disappointed at the moment because the Crows defenders conceding front spot to their Brisbane opponents. Well, that tells the story. The Lions inside 56 times, the Crows just won.
Yeah, Drew, interchange for Adelaide. 5, Costa. 17, Downsborough. 25, Binky. 38, Gallagher.
I don't think Kim Costa will be off the ground too much longer. He's been very, very influential in the last 2 games for the Crows.
So another ball inside the attacking 50 to the Lions. Incredibly, the Crows have only had 5 effective kicks at this stage. And we've been playing some 8.5 minutes. McLeod hands off to James. Kicks to the centre wing. Kennedy getting in the back of Matthew Robrin. Umpire saw it that way.
And that's all you can do on a night like tonight. If you play in front, you have a chance to get the free kick, if not the mark.
Matthew Robrin had 11 marks last week by playing in front, and he's had 14 for the year, so that tells you how good a game his was last week. Going back is Dick Foss. Rashudo right on his hammer. Dick Foss looking for the safety of the boundary line. He's given the benefit of the doubt. Rashudo pleading for a free kick.
Well, he wasn't too convincing about it. I don't think Danny could have done too much else with it.
Well, the umpires we've spoken about already this season, if you do take clean possession and push it out, you will be penalised, and I think they'll be consistent with that, even on a wet-like night tonight, where they'll be looking for it. Here is Ackermanis over to McRae. Tops one a little bit high. Play on. It's still inside the Crows' 50. Going to ground. Players keep their feet here. They could be in with a chance. Socket off the ground by Ashcroft to the middle. One-on-one contest. Bickley, the captain, tackled by Lappin. Edwards, he can't get a clear kick away. Scramble through the middle. Hard to get a kick. Easy to get a free kick if you're Nigel Lappin. Umpire Ray Kelsey saw it that way. Quickly they play on. I don't know if that's the order of the day on a night like tonight. Perhaps it's better to take the safe option and go along with a kick, because all it does is scramble it up as Richard Champion tries to punch it forward with his kick. McRae in the action again, wrapped up. Tyson off the ground with the soccer. It is very hard to get a clean possession. Rashudo and Huskis do battle. Another ball up. No, a free kick again. So Brisbane getting the best of those decisions at the moment.
Well, we'll go with the umpires. It's a difficult night to umpire. It's certainly a difficult night to play.
O'Bree's kick dropped short, and the worst player who could give it to McLeod.
He started well for the Crows.
From centre wing. Up to half forward.
Burton.
Not taken. Ball on the ground. Chance for Bond. Floats the hand pass over the top. Lepage back in defence this year. Kennedy, a hurried kick towards the line. And he gets it out.
Drew, it's a night like tonight where coaches have got a real opportunity to evaluate the players' courage, and there's a lot being shown out there at the moment.
So a throw in at half forward for the Crows. 3 goals, 1-0 the Lions have started. It was the boot on the other foot last week against Port Adelaide. Hurried kick by Eccles. Jarman didn't have the ball ridden into the ground. No whistle on the play. Bond and O'Bree, and the umpire says, give it to me.
Yes, well, Darren Jarman, having started in the centre of the ground for the first couple of bounces, has gone back to the forward pocket. They just need some magic there. Danny Dick Foss will pick him up. And it suggests Danny would have a fairly hard night of it.
So inside the Crows attacking 50. Robrin with Clark, taps it to the advantage of Ashcroft. Quick kick by him, looking for the boundary line. Lambert is well tackled by Brett James. He's going nowhere.
Well, that's great stuff, isn't it? These two players are going to be wearing each other like gloves, and they are so important. This will be a very, very good contest to watch.
Well, they're the leading possession getters for both their teams, so it may have a real effect on the outcome of this game. Kicking around the body quickly, there was Burton, high. Lepage, he loves to jump and he loves to catch it. Dick Foss, here's a chance for Jarman, he's got it!
He is unbelievable.
Well, here it is. The next generation Magna.
Impressive.
There's more drive ahead and legroom than Falcon. And plenty of space for the whole family. And the new 3.5-litre V6 generates the same power as the Commodore's 3.8. So, technology, security, space, and power. When you think about it, choosing any other family car would be, illogical.
New Magna 3.5, the next generation. It is Mitsubishi.
Yes, Justin Lepage unfortunately had the ball on his chest but couldn't hold it.
Jarman didn't get a touch in the first half last week. Gets the Crows' first goal tonight. Here goes McLeod. Gets pretty good distance under pressure, bumbling the ball along the ground. Johnson centres the ball towards full forward. Lepage goes the punch, misses it altogether. Ackermanis at the back. Switches to the social club side of the ground. White. He's been more prominent tonight than he was in the whole game last week, Darryl White. And the ball over the line, and we'll have a throw in. He was very disappointing last week. Already 4 possessions tonight.
He's playing a lot further up the ground tonight, though. Drew, I'm sure he's almost starting on the wing.
Boundary throw-in. Pittman comes over the top. Boyd on the ground for the Lions. Spills out to Ackermanis. Maybe looking for some support. Had wide on the boundary, decided to kick long with his left boot. Knocking it on Lappin. Here's McRae. Well, he misses that completely, but gets another chance. Swung as he kicked it in front of Malloy. With him, Stevens. Can Malloy keep it in? He thinks he can, but not quite. So another boundary throw in.
Jared Malloy started a lot more positively tonight. He attacks the ball strongly, he attacks the player with the ball, but just doesn't control it often enough.
Again, Clark and Pittman to do battle. Pittman on top at the minute. Bickley receives it now. Goes with the kick to the outer side, hugging the boundary. Kennedy on Robrin. It comes to Kane Johnson. Back to Bickley. Here come the Crows, trying to mount an attack. This looks promising. Towards the 50. McLeod there, also Bond. O'Brien behind him. Going back, looking for the boundary, and again finding it. Taking that option.
Yes, but at least the Crows have steadied a little bit. Malcolm Blight would be just a bit more comfortable now. You see Lee Matthews there, but he would be very pleased with their start compared to last week.
And he talked before the game of the difference between 2-2 and 1-3.
McLeod for his 5th kick. Good through.
They're going particularly well. Good punch away by Lepage, who was in an awkward position, about 4th in line. Robrin's hand pass is good. On to Eccles. Dumps it up towards the square, and a diving mark in front. And here's Jarman again.
I'm a little surprised there's not more players wearing gloves tonight.
Yes, I think the gloves, though, curls are a trendy thing, but just the quick movement forward and Jarman, where all good forward line players should be when the ball comes over the pack. In front, and Brad Boyd there is, we think he got a finger in the eye, but it's okay. Andrew McLeod's the player who's dragged the Crows back into this game. 7 possessions already.
Jarman for his 2nd. No problems.
Tôi đến Old Trafford bởi vì tôi phát giác ra một tiếng động rất là kỳ cục ở cái máy xe của tôi. Nó kêu tích, tích, tích. Tôi nói cho họ biết điều đó và họ bảo là cái bộ phận tappers đang có một chút trở ngại. Tôi cần cái xe của tôi sửa trong một ngày, nhưng họ chỉ sửa mất có vài tiếng đồng hồ thôi. They are that good. They understand.
Two of Adelaide's superstars, McLeod and Jarman, bring them back to within 7 points. And Jarman always plays well against the lines. He's a terrific record, and so does Nigel Smart. You haven't seen a lot of him, but he's in there now. Eccles goes to ground, going nowhere. So just over 9 minutes remaining.
And have you seen the setup for the Crows, the centre bounce? Jarman going in, McLeod coming off the half-back, off that back line there, and then Jarman dropping back into the forward area.
Going back now. Here's Ashcroft. Quick kick off the ground well with Stevens. He's managed to do that twice already. Lovely kick and just finding the boundary line to relieve the pressure. Simon Black looking on into the side, replacing Sean Hart, who injured his finger. Tried to train during the week but couldn't come up. But Simon Black, a handy replacement, a good young player. Here's the Lions. Lambert, as usual, on the bottom, working hard. Quick little handball. Boyd couldn't get a kick, but it pops back to Lambert. His handball was actually too quick for everyone to see it. Crows will run it out now. Eccles, left foot kick. Huskus in front of Johnson. Well picked up, Ackermanis. Swings it round. Out in front now, Lappin. Can't take it cleanly. A lot of water on the ground in the middle. It comes back to Huskus. Off one step. Into the forward line. Over the back is Bassett. Gets around his own man, and Pittman kicks towards the boundary line once again. And another ball injury.
A couple of these matchups are interesting. Andrew McLeod's being tagged by having McRae run with him. Voss, as we've seen, has got Goodwin alongside him. And Danny Dick-Voss will have a hard night with Darren Jarman.
Ashcroft goes off the ground. It's at the 50, the hand pass inside 50 now to Lambert. Look for McRae going past. Voss again. Boyd. Plucked out of the air. Well done by Edwards. He's taken over the line. Throw it.
Actually, well done by both of them. Malloy didn't allow him to get away from him. And Tyson Edwards has been a very good player. Well, Stevie Lawrence there.
Boy, but he'd be suited in these conditions.
Instructions from the coach. Get out there, get the ball.
He's just like a torpedo. Across the ground, McRae. Well done, Smart, but straight in the arms of Huskus. Round the body he goes. McLeod just attacking that ball brilliantly. Well played, Andy McLeod. Out towards centre wing. Huskis is forming a bit of a wall there, but he's up near midfield rather than back in defence. The hand pass back into the logo to the running Kennedy. Long kick in the rain. Malloy caught at the back. It doesn't get to the back. Voss in front. Turning on a show tonight. Michael Voss towards the goal line. Good kick. And helped by Bassett over the boundary line for a throw in the forward pocket.
Nathan Bassett, he just did not know who was around him then, so instead of attempting to mark, he probably could have. He went for safety first. The knock, I think, was supposed to go through from behind.
Can the Lions make him pay for it? No, they can't. Crows should clear here. Off the ground, the big boot. Gets it 40 metres up towards Robert and Kennedy. Kennedy does well. With poise, kicks it long. Back to where it came from. Back just to Pittman. And the big ruckman takes the mark. He's got Mark Stevens now. Out to the northern stand wing. Too far. Another ball in.
Well, he had no options there. It was a pretty well-weighted kick in the end, but David Pittman, wearing the gloves, as Neil Curley mentioned before, or observed before, still couldn't hold the mark.
Well, Lee Matthews has made a change, as we can see Stephen Lawrence coming on for the taller Matthew Clark. So the conditions having an effect for the Lions. Ackermanis runs back and takes that mark. Decides briskly to play on. Now puts Huskis under pressure. He's wrapped up by Darryl Wintle, former North Adelaide player.
I mean, you shouldn't ignore the handball completely on a night like tonight, but there's times when you really just have to get the ball on the boot.
I don't know if it was there that time, Graham, and perhaps should have gone back. I mean, he is a lovely kick of the ball.
Particularly when the player receiving is under pressure.
Yep. Eccles pokes it out in front. And as Drew mentioned earlier, we're going to see a lot of soccering off the ground and a lot of boundary throw-ins. And that'll be the style of play all evening.
Matty, how'd you like to be coaching a team with John Barnes and Adam Huskis in it?
I won't say anything, Drew.
Throw in. Keating did pretty well there. Lappin helped the ball on. I wonder if they've ever had conditions like this at Chiltern. Kane Johnson ducks a tackle and goes for a bit of a run. Great play. Kicked by Johnson to half forward. Mark taken by Scott.
He's a guardless kid, though. I like the way he plays his football.
Kicked by Chris Scott to midfield. Prosciutto got a fist on it. Comes down to Edwards, into Pittman. Almost run down by Keating. Good pass by Pittman. Jarman on the front edge of the centre square. Long kick. Oh, bounces off Bond. It had too much on it. And a man in a wet jumper just couldn't hang on.
Well, it was a magnificent kick. Darren Jarman turned. He saw Bond by himself and he speared the pass in. And I guess that's the sign of a man who hasn't had a lot of football. Bondi played half a game for Port Adelaide last week. Sat on the bench. Here he finds himself in an AFL game of football. At the Gabba under pressure. Players coming at him. I guess you'd excuse him that one. Not too many more, though.
Leppich's kick straight to the Roo.
Yes, Adelaide screened very well there.
So Mark Prosciutto, who scored 3 Brownlow votes the last time these clubs met at the Gabba, round 9 last year, where the Crows were very successful.
Yes, Andrew McLeod's a great player for Adelaide, but this young fella here, it really is the heart and soul of Adelaide. He puts it all on the line every week.
Well, he is a thumping kick of the football. He's kicking from 60, just to the 10-metre square, just in front towards Jarman. It comes to ground. Here's McLeod. What can he conjure up? Going back. Eccles. Back to McLeod. Good work. McLeod trying to bust through. Doesn't get far. Scott can't get a clear kick, but it comes to Marcus Ashcroft. Game number 141 in a row. Darryl White to Huskis. Slippery bowl. But he has time. And McRae having a wonderful first quarter. Ashcroft had run on. He did well there. He ran 60 metres to receive. Champion the target. He spills it. Over the back, the Crows have the numbers. Bickley, courtesy of a wonderful shepherd by Prosciutto. Voss coming through with body. Here's Nigel Smart. Runs outside his own 50. Poor kick. Goes straight to Clark Keating. Down low. This will test his 2 shoulders out.
Oh, yes.
He doesn't get far. Kennedy and Robrin.
Throw in.
Wintle. And he'll take the free kick.
He was the umpire a bit slow there. The throw was there initially, but he couldn't ignore the trip of Darryl Wintle.
Keating standing the mark. This will test the shoulders to put the hands above the head.
Adelaide not scared to go short between centre and half forward.
Johnson tries the talk. It wobbles off the side of the boot. Jarman, that's a great sprint. He had no right to even get to that ball.
But his instinct tells him that he identified when the ball left the boot that it wasn't going to be a good kick, that it was off the side of the boot, and he moved first. You can just see the ground he makes up on Danny Dickfoss there. You give him a look at the ball, he'll get there first.
And there's not too many players would have caught that ball, but Jarman's technique was absolutely perfect.
Hands under the ball, Curls.
Certainly was.
So he's going for a hat-trick in the opening turn.
Doesn't look confident, though. Does he? Looks like he wants to... Oh, no, he's settled now.
There's a real big opening there, plenty of room.
Well, he got 3 in the third quarter last week with his only 3 kicks against St Kilda. This is now 3 in the opening quarter.
Professor Clark had an idea to help some people to hear.
The bionic ear.
This required a tiny implant. Very small.
But it was only possible with help from telephone engineers here in Melbourne.
They mean it twice the secretary.
Can you imagine the wonderful things that we've all got to look forward to?
Scores level, courtesy of Darren Jarman. So after the Lions got off to that brilliant start, the Crows have settled and now look to be well in control. Jarman up forward in particular. Lawrence on the ground, bursting through towards Malloy. Good work by Stevens to get back and to keep it in there. It gets knocked out, though. Here's Ashcroft towards Voss. Voss comes out, can't take it cleanly. Lappin's run on from that contest. Quick kick, good kick. Is it going to get there? No. Right on the post, Lappin, but he had followed up well.
Matty, change being made. We have Lawrence now on Jarman and Dick Voss being replaced by him.
Well, that's okay when the ball's in the centre of the game. You see Nigel Lappin, sorry, just ran onto the ball and did not quite steady. He probably could have taken the extra step. Back low.
And Bickley drives it long from defence. Clever knock on by Robber, and he's going about 25 metres. Huskis gets back there, toes the ball up the ground to Ackermanis, gets it back. Huskis close to the line. Good mark, Scott. Wants to play on quickly. You're in trouble, Kennedy. Oh, the hand pass to Boyd wasn't good. It's been turned over. And the hand pass by Wintle fired it into Pittman up towards the 50. Punch to the front. O'Brien, good hands in the wet conditions.
Gee, it was a good pickup, wasn't it?
Back to Kennedy. And Keating there as well. Close to the line. And we'll have a throw in down towards half forward.
And just before that, Drew Criscott was called to play on, so the ball was touched in play, so he didn't settle there.
Well, we thought that Brad Boyd might have got a finger in the poke in the eye.
Is it blood or mud?
Mud.
It might be mud. Is there a mud rule? They need it tonight. Wintle. Almost hurt Mark. O'Brien knocking defensively. Lawrence caught. Play on, says the umpire. He's lucky there, Lawrence. The umpire will throw it up.
You'd say it was holding the ball. He's tried to go through the players, tagged him, and no effort to get rid of the ball.
I think in dry conditions it would have been played, but I think the umpires will give the players an opportunity tonight.
Ball up, Keating and Robran. Comes over the back. This is Wintle, left foot. Difficult kick that from there, but scores the behind, so tie the score up again. 20 apiece.
Yeah, Darryl Wintle's interesting. He gets to the ball. It's only his third game for the Crows.
Yep.
And he's enjoying it. He's certainly to the pace of the game already.
Mitchell goes short. They were practicing this at training, the first short, then the second long, to try and beat the zone. Robran does well. McRae in the right spot. That's a poor kick from McRae. White was leading to the boundary side, and he kicked it straight to Pittman.
Well, he just tried to be too precise, didn't he?
So Pittman.
What is it? Short, long, short. Give it up.
Thank you. So that probably isn't in the script, Drew. So let's see if they do it next time. Johnson can't pick it up. Ashcroft ducks his head. Robran tries to leave it for Rashudo. Going nowhere. Ball up, as you can see, right on the 50-metre line. Scores a level. And we're almost at the end of this first quarter.
I think we've got some blood there, Marcus Ashcroft. I think you might have to go off, son. Oh, it's the eye. You get a little nick above the eye that looks spectacular. Not too much problem with it, but it'll be very difficult on a night like tonight to close the wound up and to stop it bleeding, I would think. And David Calthorpe seizing the opportunity. Doesn't have to be told twice.
Graham, good fight back by the Crows, particularly in these conditions. They were under the knuckle early with 3 quick goals to the Brisbane Lions, but they've steadied and fought back very, very well, as we all know.
Andrew McLeod curls. He's been sensational. 6 kicks and 4 handballs, and Darren Jarman has been the lone hand in the forward line for them.
And Pittman's been very good at floating across that defensive play.
Calthorpe looks as though he'd be suited in these conditions. Built very close to the ground. David Calthorpe. Boyd knocks the ball on, but he's turned it over. Back from Rashudo. Oh, stretched by Huskis, but he couldn't take the mark. Ball's flipped up. Hurried kick by Burton to the goal square. Chopped off by Lawrence. Now has the job on Jarman. White dumps the ball on Ackermanis. And Ackermanis gets it back. Terrific play by Malloy. Well done, Jason Ackermanis. Open forward line, but the lone forward has been caught 30 metres behind. They're looking to get it to the line, the Crows. That was Bassett. Is that out on the full, or was it smothered by Voss? It's out on the full. Lions free.
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because the full forward for the Lions, and I think it's Brad Boyd, was 30 metres behind Nathan Bassett.
Well, they need a mark here. Running out of time. High ball by Calthorpe. There's the siren. And it's quarter time here. And the score's level at the first change after it was 19-0 in favour of the Lions. And then the Crows kicked the next 3 goals won. They levelled at 19 all, and they've added a point each. So it was a very strange first quarter. 3-2 apiece here at quarter time at the Gabba. And the way the Lions started, you thought, well, they've adjusted well. They came out quickly. And for a while, it was looking a little bit like how far. But then Darren Jarman got into gear, and he kicked 3 goals, all 3 goals for the Crows in the first term. Scores level, 3-2 apiece.
Good evening. The US is holding a Yugoslav prisoner of war in Albania. The Serb soldier was captured in Kosovo. Meanwhile, local Serbs have again taken to the streets, venting their anger at the NATO airstrikes. And the 36ers are just 1 win away from the NBL Grand Final. They'll defend their title against the Victorian Titans at the Powerhouse on Wednesday night. Now checking tomorrow's weather, fine and sunny tomorrow with a top of 22 degrees.
Girlfriend cooked dinner again last night.
McDonald's massive McMuffin, the biggest McMuffin ever.
Can you hear that? Hear what? That.
Nothing's tougher than hard yakka.
You know, there's been a lot of wild claims about paint lately. But let me give you the drum. I paint for a living, and the one paint I rely on, together with thousands like me, is Solver Maxi Wash. For an unbeatable interior finish, it wipes the rest away. And for the outside, it's Solver Duragard, best paint under the sun. So take it from me. Get along to your local Solver Decorator Centre or distributor, then it's problem solved.
After just 3 or 4 drinks, you're likely to be over the limit. You may not even feel drunk. But the fact is, you're much more likely to have a crash.
As we journey into the 21st century, the search will continue for new horizons, new ways of thinking, new opportunities. Whether your challenges take you around the corner or around the globe, make sure you carry the right financial equipment for your future. Diners Club, your new card is here.
Don't get ripped off by Australian Made. The Muses SA Zone has the multi-Grammy award-winning CD by Lauryn Hill for just $21.95, including the smash hit Can't Take My Eyes Off You. Rock on to the limited edition 2-CD bonus version of Korn's great new album, Follow the Leader, also only $21.95. Australian-made CDs at $21.95. Mariah Carey, Bewitched, Celine Dion, Ben Folds 5, U2, Midnight Oil, plus heaps more. The Muses, Sydney, Modbury and Elizabeth, proudly Australian-made.
It's your birthday next week.
You remembered.
It says here we'll be eligible for a 10% discount on our home and motor insurance policies.
Ask about SGIC's 10% discount for customers over 55.
Welcome back to the Gabba. The quarter-time huddle's just breaking up, and it couldn't be any closer here after a first quarter, which was first Brisbane and then Adelaide, and it finished up dead set level, 3-2 apiece at quarter-time. Well, another game has started in Sydney between the Sydney Swans and the Kangaroos, which are vying for Sydney support. And unfortunately, in the first quarter, another ruckman has gone down injured. Greg Stafford was injured in the first quarter, and this was an incident that happened just a short time ago.
Takes the kick in, looks towards the centre wing. Luff almost got edged out, but McKernan takes the mark.
Yeah, Stafford's in trouble down here.
Stafford is in trouble. Drama here for Sydney and Greg Stafford. I cannot believe it if a big man has done another knee.
Well, with Wren and Marsh and all sorts of other players going down injured, just shocking to see that happen. Look, that game is underway. Some stations will be taking a replay of that match after this, so if you don't wish to... Second quarter about to get underway. Scores level here at the Gabba. And Pittman goes in and wins in the middle. Matty Clark's back on the ball for the Lions. He spent the last 10 minutes of the first quarter sitting down. And it was interesting because it was a period where the Crows were coming back at them.
Well, he is important. He's their best ruckman, but David Pittman has started very well. I think that's what Lee Matthews was concerned about.
Clark wins this hit out. Comes to Bickley. Neil Curley on the boundary line.
Yeah, nothing much has changed down here. The weather has eased a little bit. Terrific. Both coaches asking their players to attempt to play in front and attack the ball hard.
Yeah, good to see you out in the open. See, it is, what is it? Perfect 1 minute and even better the next. McLeod, terrific first quarter. This is on the attacking 50. When hand pass comes out, Wintle. Good pick up on the run. This was gone.
He's paid a holding free kick to Darryl Wintle. He was just held after he got rid of the handball. It was pretty tiggy touch. Well, that's James Tyson. Well, I'd like to see a replay of that. I thought it was Wintle that was held.
Well, it was Wintle who got the hand pass out. Now, whether it was maybe a relayed free possibly to the man who got the ball after the infringement.
Yeah, probably free after disposal.
So James Tyson to take the free. He's kicking from about 50. Can he do a Jarman and really thump this? Well, not quite. Hasn't made it. And that misses the behind post, so it's out of bounds for a throw in forward pocket.
Yeah, James Tyson has been a very, very good player for the Crows with his run, with the way he carries the ball, and he normally finishes off very well. It's going to be a good contest. Jason Ackermanis and he lining up together.
Only light rain here at the Gabba at the moment. Clark makes front spot, taps it down towards Ackermanis. He looks for the rush behind.
Yes, now what about that?
What about it, Conti?
What about it?
It's okay if you give away a point, but if you miss and it goes out of bounds, it'll be a free kick.
Is there time for a rule change on the deliberately rushed behinds?
Well, having played in defence, I'll say no. Having played full-back on some of the people that could kick 10 goals on me, I'll say no. That's a lovely kick from Leppich all the way to the edge of the square. Avoided run forward. He received it from Clark. Lambert runs forward. Up and under with that handball. McLeod does well. Eccles could pick up. Out in front of Rashudo and Tyson. It'll come to Tyson. He gets around wide as if he's not there. Well done, James Tyson. Short. Too short. Huskis, and as so often he does, floats into the hole to cut it off. He's looking for the run of McRae, who had 10 kicks in the first quarter. There's Jarman, 3 goals in the first quarter. Up to Bond. Just couldn't quite take it again. Curls down on the bench.
In a change for Adelaide. No change there. 5 Costa, 17 Downsborough, 25 Binky, and 38 Gallagher.
And Troy Bond again not able to hold that mark. Now, Blighty wants to let him have a good run to get into the game, but he'll be watching that very closely.
McRae up towards centre of the ground. Malloy. Good use of the body by Stevens, because Malloy's an immovable object. Comes to Smart. No distance in the kick. Ackermanis is there, coming back to the cricket pitch area. Wide out of the air. Oh, bucks a fortune here. It's inside the 50. Champion took a while to pick it up, and great tackle by Smart. Now, he swung him 360 degrees. Is that not a free kick?
I think he was trying to get rid of the ball, but he was trying to dispose of the ball by foot, but it doesn't matter because Mark Bickley has won the free kick here.
That was clearly holding the ball, Drew.
Looked like it to me, Curls.
I agree.
Here's Rashudo from halfback, across to Stevens. Kick by Stevens over the wing, dropping short, and Huskus just roaming around without an opponent and getting plenty of the football, which you're entitled to if nobody's standing you. 3 marks, 8 possessions.
He's waiting for Kane Johnson to come back off the ball. That's why he's by himself.
Malloy gets front spot, but Stevens on top of that duel. Smart off the ground. Fortuitously there to Kane Johnson. He goes backwards. It's Tyson under a bit of pressure, but the Crows have the numbers, and the captain in Mark Bickley. On the grandstand side here, Clark comes in to lend a hand to Kennedy. The spoil. White was in the right spot. Huskus again. Kicks. Smart gets back. Is he in the right spot? No. The punch was there, was good. Lambert goes to ground. Smart again. Quick kick. Voss dives on it. Voss, terrific work. Considering he's just come back from a broken leg, I'll never know it. But Brett James will clear for the Crows. Pittman can't quite get it. Here's Darryl Wintle. Here come the Crows. Eccles. Short, looking for the lead of Robran. In front of Kennedy this time. Lovely handball to McLeod. McLeod gets onto his right foot, goes on the ground, keeping his feet. No, there's a free kick, and it's against Shane O'Brien, so the free kick will go to Troy Bond.
We'd like to see that again, but you can see why Matthew Robin's so important to the Crows. That everybody knows where to play around him, and even if he doesn't take the mark, there's a knock-on or a handball coming out as it did to Andrew McLeod then.
So Bond from point-blank range has put another goal on the board for the Crows.
Where are Adelaide's eligible men?
I think they're very hard to find.
In a 7 Nightly News special report, what are women looking for in men?
We expect a lot more and we want a lot more.
And why can't they find it? Wanted, Adelaide's eligible men, Monday at 6.
On Today Tonight, the pensioners who won $500,000 on Lotto.
I didn't believe it.
Then blew the lot.
We did what we believed was right with the money.
And 10 months later, they're back on welfare. 6:30 Monday.
But it wasn't his.
Back in the middle, well, I think you can mark that one down as a lucky goal to the Crows. Cornsey couldn't even see a free kick in there. Ackermanis out to Bond, out to Boyd. Boyd across the ground to the human torpedo, Stevie Lawrence. Lawrence goes short, and it's good. And the mark to McRae, who's been prominent, Craig McRae. Not bad distance for a little bloke. Smart chips in and takes the mark.
In front.
What was that was happening, boys? Pittman off with mud in his eye, down for an on.
Mud in his eye, Curls. What would you say if a player comes off with mud in his eye?
Well, he can't see.
Thanks, Curls.
See, there is a mud rule. And just outside the 50. Pretty good delivery.
Darryl Wintle's working himself into this game quite nicely. This will be his 4th kick, 4th handball.
23-year-old, so he's not as young as most recruits coming into the competition. Prosciutto off the left, up short of half forward. Oh, Brad Boyd getting back. Good mark, class play.
Yeah, well, it was a good mark. He committed himself. He didn't know what was coming.
Scott takes it from Boyd. Low and short. He's missed Calthorpe. Crows could make them pay here. Quick hands from Eccles is good. The van is called. Johnson, direct, long, one-on-one again. Going back, Lepage gets a hand on it. Here's Bond now. He's just kicked a goal. O'Brien on him again. Bond goes to ground. O'Brien. Burton. Everyone going to ground. Spins back. Doesn't quite hit Jarman. Will he stay on his feet? Yes, he does. Coming in to lend a hand was Stevie Lawrence and pushes out in the boundary. So, hard to keep your feet as we see.
Yeah, I think it's more than mud, Curls. So I think they're just checking his vision. I think he's got perhaps a poke in the eye with the double vision.
Yeah, with a big piece of mud.
Thanks, thanks, Curls.
Mud under somebody's fingernail.
Scott off the ground. Here is McRae. It's been penalised as a throw.
Well, you take them when you can get them.
There'll be a lot of those tonight.
So, Eccles.
Yeah, very good play for the Crows. This boy's skill under pressure and in these conditions is excellent.
Still 19, but already has a premiership to his credit. Another free kick.
What's happening here?
And it's to the Crows again. So this time it goes to Mark Prosciutto. So they've kicked the last 4 goals, the Adelaide Crows, and they're right on top at the moment. And after struggling to get early possessions, now dominating play, in particular through the midfield and setting up opportunities inside their forward 50. So Mark Prosciutto, as we know, is a terrific kicker of the football. He'll have to kick it from just on the 50. The torpedo goes left and scores it behind. So Crows extend their lead to 8 points.
Well, it was a big kick in these conditions. Now, Malcolm Blight encourages the boys to go with the torpedo. if they feel confident, but if they miss one, yes, there's that foreign object. Curls, just get over there and see what you can see.
Well, Doc can't see it with his equipment that close. I don't think Curl's going to see much, is he? Right, they bring it out. Eustace again up towards centre wing. Big leap by Boyd, but couldn't come down with the mark. Great pick-up by Robin.
Well, he's gone for the safety of the line. I'm not sure whether Malcolm would be happy with that.
Okay. Medical report.
Yes.
Pittman, poke in the eye, bit of mud on the end of the finger, and a little bit of blurred vision. Should be okay.
Thank you, Dr. Curley. Keating. Well, he waited down. There's Wintle again. Dispossessed by Lambert. The ball back towards centre wing. Bassett well up the ground. Great kick by Bassett. Out to James. Brett James goes long to the goal square. A juggle by Burton. Over the line it goes and through for a minor score.
Well, there's a couple of high flyers there. Justin Leppich, we've seen take some amazing marks. And Brett Burton, I think one day will take the mark of the year.
Graham, I don't think it's conditions for young Burton tonight. He, as you know, he likes to fly, but he loves the dry ball.
Well, as long as he's competing, Curls, and the players around him can work to the fall of the ball as well.
Point. Now, kick from Lepich, taken over the line by Eccles.
Eccles has been prominent too.
So it's a 9-point margin.
In fact, Andrew Eccles, 10 kicks, 4 handballs.
That's terrific, isn't it? Keating to do battle with Robrin. Down to the front, Chris Scott. Around the body, Calthorpe and Edwards. Edwards thought he had it, ends up with it. Does well, Tyson Edwards. Here's Eccles again. One step. Oh, Bond, this time he takes the mark. And probably in the context of the three he's had, that was the toughest.
And that's why the coach has got fantastic timing. He would have thought about taking him off when he missed the first two, but just stays there. Forces young O'Brien out of the way. He's got to look at the ball low.
Bond's kick is well right. In fact, he's missed everything, so no score. Girls isn't happy with it, neither's Cornsey.
Well, he just didn't line himself up. He's got to line himself up, look at where the target is, and then focus on the ball as he's about to kick it.
You kick the drop punt. Don't care where it goes. You kick a clean drop punt. And he'll go through it. If you look up, it's like a golf shot, a golf punt. Here's Rashudo. Centres it beautifully. Does that very well. Kennedy gets a hand on it. It spills out in front. Danger zone for the Lions. Lawrence doesn't do very well. Here's Burton. Scoops it up well. Jarman, the danger man. He has 3. They've still got another chance through Wintle. Decides to take him on. Robrin. He decides to take him on. And he's going to be pinged for holding the ball. Advantage paid. Eckermanis was off before he had it, but he gets a second chance. Now McRae's got to go back. Courage needed. Smart. Good punch. Good tackle from Keating. Smart, second time into the contest. Does well, his second up effort. McRae, having a night out possession-wise. Out in front of Notting, who's come on from champion. Keeps it in, does well. Great boys run on. Now we've got 6 players up forward. 3 one-on-one contest. The kick is short. Calthorpe can't take possession. Smart does well because he was in the contest 40 metres away. He's got back to help out. Here's James. Notting. Goes the wrong way. Up high, coming through Scott. Eccles did well. It's fallen to James Tyson. Here go the Crows now. Tyson to McLeod. What can he do? Lawrence, who's getting some attention from a trainer, comes into the contest. Tyson. Lawrence in the back of Jarman. He's paid it. So has the advantage been paid?
Well, they went through for goal. I just don't know whether anyone touched it.
Well, Brett Burton came along, I think, and may have got a foot to the ball. I think a goal will be called here. It'll be the Crows' 5th. All clear.
Which rally car has won the World Drivers' Championship for the last 3 years? Which rally car has also won the 1998 Manufacturers' Championship? And which rally car uses this experience in the production of its road car? The answer, the Lancer.
Well, we've just had a look at the replay a couple of times, and we'll give the goal to Brett Burton. It was advantage, and Tyson had a kick for goal from about 70 metres out, and the ball was running on, and Tyson just got a toe, just a toe to it.
A toenail, perhaps.
Some part of his boot to it. Yeah, so Brisbane's last goal, 6 minutes into the first quarter. At one stage, Brisbane were 19-0. And now they're 20 to 35 behind. So the Crows have gone 35 to 1 in this run.
Yes, but I just sense the Lions have lifted in the last 4 or 5 minutes. The goal to Burton was against the flow of play, but like last week, they were getting into their 50-metre, but not using it cleanly. This is a much better clean possession. And Craig McRae, even though it's a wet, heavy ball,
he'll get the distance.
You'd back him to get the distance, but you'd want somebody in front of the pack, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think he'll get the distance. This boy's a very long kick.
This is his 14th kick, would you believe? 50 metres out. Kicked it a long way, but offline. Still in the field of play. Delivered out of bounds. That's what the Lions are playing. Golly.
Hey, Matty. Yes? Where do you think the Brisbane Lions have dried up? They just lost their early spark.
Well, they're not getting many possessions through the midfield as we see the replay here. No, he's had clean possession, hit it straight to the boundary.
Oh, Bassett, that's red hot, deliberate out of bounds. Lucky to get away with it. Here come the Lions again. It's just a torrent of players moving forward.
On your point, though, Curls, I think across half forward, they're just not penetrating. McRae and McLeod are opposed to each other, and both players are having an absolute field day, so...
And I think that
and Ackermanis is getting plenty of the ball.
The Crows' back line is well on top.
Yes. We'll throw a blanket over about 30 players here. Keating. Ball flipped on. Keating gets another touch. Scott's in there. Hurried ball out of the big pack. Batsman applies the tackle. James along the boundary line. Comes into McLeod. Good tackle by Ashcroft. And somehow they've worked it about 50 metres up the ground, Adelaide. But Brisbane have it. White to Lambert. Back to White. Across the ground. A bit of space now for Lappin. Lappin, 60 metres out. Long and high. They want to mark with a wet ball. Oh, nearly. Off the ground. Oh, an airy in the goal square. And a rugby scrum. For a behind, or was the umpire calling for it and going to throw it up?
Just unfortunate. Malloy flew high, couldn't hold it, and as he followed through, his teammate who could have picked it up thought, no, I'll let him have a go at it, and Malloy just not able to recover quickly when it hit the ground. What have we got here?
You get a ball up. Darren Goldspink throws it up. Can the Lions get some reward for some work? Downsburg grabs it. Plenty of Crows around the ball. Eccles shouldn't rake it in. He's got some numbers there. Quick hands from Winsell to Stevens. Doesn't clear the contest. Calthorpe, quick kick back to the danger zone. Here's where the Lions have the numbers. Quick hands from Scott. Here's a chance for Ashcroft around the body. Is it going to get there? Yes, it is.
Here's a family who wants to enhance their outdoor living area and add value to their home with a new deck and garden. And here's the Mitre 10 specialist.
40-tooth blade, the more teeth on the blade, the finer the cut. So the tooth.
From the store that understands it's not just the low price, it's getting the right advice that really saves you money.
Oh, what's here?
Back in the middle, and Keating gets a hand to it, but still back in the centre circle. Now it's flipped out Adelaide's way. Huskus is there. And Huskus again. Walks with the hand pass. Whistle's gone. Oh, line's free. Could be taken. Any amount of lines up here. Boyd the hand pass away to Ackermanis. The floodgates might open all of a sudden. Ackermanis to the edge of the square. Punch to the front. Well done, Voss.
Well done, Bickley.
Good tackle.
Oh, sorry, well done, Goodwin, I'm sorry. Well done, both players. That's the way footy needs to be played in these conditions. Voss at it, but Goodwin, his opponent, right with him.
Graham, what two classic examples of attacking the ball and controlling the tackle?
So again, the ball up, and again, Keating comes in for the Lions. The punch there from Bassett. It falls towards Edwards. He'll be content to run it over.
Dear me.
And Darren Goldspink says, again, the benefit of the doubt, but I think pretty fair in that case. I think Nathan Bassett was a bit luckier earlier on.
They did say at the start of the year that they were going to play these a little more strictly, and they seem not to of late.
Well, it's fallen to Calthorpe. He spins around, can't get a clear kick. Ashcroft does well. Lambert at ground level, hooks it back. Chance for the Lions. Voss almost. McRae leaves it for Notting. Oh, there's a heavy bump there on Lambert. No free kick, and Blamey will get up, and he won't be happy about this, as you can see.
But I think more than anything, he projected himself into Mark Stevens. Just watch the replay. He comes flying through here. Stevens are just, well...
You've got to protect the player's head.
but I don't think it was a deliberate attack on the player.
It doesn't matter. It's still, if you get a cop in the head, I mean, that's the rule. But it's kicked across the goals now.
I think Lambert attacked Stevens' knee with his head.
And how many players do that?
Here's another angle of it. Stevens is looking at the ball, tries to stop. In fact, likely not to get an knee injury there.
Well,
sorry, mate.
Great Lambert, I think, a little bit unlucky. I think you're entitled to, when you come up with a knee in the head, to expect a free kick. But we're back with the action. Johnson, Ross going through hard. Edwards wrapping up Calthorpe, so going nowhere. 9 points to margin, just over 6 minutes remaining in this first half.
Matthew, this is Lions' opportunity. With Pittman off the ground, they should get on in control in ruck.
Well, the Lions have kicked just 1 goal since the opening 6 minutes.
Well, there's some energy there and there's some desperation, which is good to see. And you just feel the Lions are working their way back into the contest.
They trail by 9 points. Just under 6 minutes to half-time. Keating got very high. Smart, a kick across in front of goal. Chance for the Lions now. Oh, is that a high tackle? Play on, says the umpire.
Oh, tremendous stuff in these conditions. It's not pretty. It's not pretty, but it's good, strong, tough football.
It is not pretty.
Well, both sides are committed. David Pittman, they need him back on.
After treatment from the eye doctor. Lambert. Voss really having a go, Michael Voss. And the ball slapped out towards the boundary line for a throw-in. It's about 40 metres, 35 metres around from the behind post.
Pittman back on.
Jared Malloy is so important. He just has to get the ball a bit more often, though.
Downs were having a rest. Numbers, White flicks over the back to the advantage left and couldn't quite get it cleanly. Calthorpe, that's a clean give to Black. Great tackle by Edwards. Stopped the possible shot on goal. Voss and also Brett James in there, but a terrific tackle by Tyson Edwards, wrapping him up. Michael Voss, of course, 2-time Best and Fairest winner. That's a bit of a smile. As you see, that is just a perfect tackle. Conditions, hard as we know, but in any conditions, that is a great tackle. White slaps it forward. Ashcroft off the ground. Ashcroft off the ground. It's going. Is it going all the way? Malloy off the ground. Wrong side of the post. So Jared Malloy's been involved in a lot of the physical contest, as Causey said, but unfortunately not getting a result.
You just see Malloy's hotly pressed here by Mark Stevens. He just has to get his boot to it, but can't get the inside of the boot to it, unfortunately.
Bassett straight up the ground with a good 60-metre kick. Ruckman contested. White at ground level. The ball's flipped up. Ashcroft tries to knock it on. Back towards midfield. Down goes Kennedy. Ashcroft hurriedly on the turn. This could work out all right. Goes to Lappin. He beats one. Looks for the man going past. But he goes for a man under enormous pressure. And another fantastic tackle by Stevens. Back it comes now. Out of defence goes Goodwin.
It's Tyson.
And the umpire will come in and throw it in the air again. Adam Guskus.
And Nigel Lappin there didn't have the confidence with his left leg.
The crowd getting pretty frustrated, but how would you go in these conditions? You know, nobody's going to scoop it off the deck and kick a 55-metre torp on the run for a goal. Here's a free kick to Keating.
He's ruled that Pittman forced him under the ball. Keating having his moments. First came back, 2 shoulder reconstructions. How sore would he be?
Voss. Punch to the front. Calthorpe's in this mess-up.
Graham, are you a little surprised that Malcolm's not using Rashudo more on the ball?
Well, he's running with White, which seemed to be working because Darryl White is so dangerous, but he hasn't had a huge influence. And maybe he feared that Brisbane would tag Rashudo anyway. I'm more surprised that Costa's not on in these conditions.
Lappin in there for the Lions. So is Malloy. Good tackle, Pittman. Comes to Goodwin. Off one step. Bends it back. Boyd in the right spot. Makes a good mark. That's a poor kick, though. It's a terrible kick. Scott was going to help it on. McLeod had read it well. Gets it away now. And the Crows have 2-on-1 here. Jarman. Great. Shepherd by Bond. Jarman to the lead. Out in front of Burton. Can't take it. Lepich to relieve the pressure. Now here's a chance on the rebound. Matty Kennedy out in front. Needs to pick it up. He does. He's got Clark Keating with a bit of height inside the 50. That's where he heads. Smart to contest. Well done, Nigel Smart. Good punch. Ashcroft in the right spot. This time, Lappin. This time he decides to use his left and very productively finds Simon Black in the hole. And that will give not just Nigel Lappin some confidence, but all those players, Drew, that have been battling around that 50-metre line for about 10 minutes to get a clear possession.
Yes, he looked up and, well, it was good, cool football. He saw Simon Black by himself. Now, Simon Black coming in today when Sean Hart dropped out. He hasn't kicked many goals, but...
So Simon Black now from about 25 to 30 metres directly in front. It's an important kick for the Lions. He's just snuck it through, so the Lions edge closer.
Ci tengo la mia macchina, sai, è proprio un amore. Capirai, quindi, mi è venuto quasi un attacco cardiaco quando ha cominciato a fare bang, bang, bang. L'ho portato subito a Oltreciune e il meccanico mi ha detto che si trattava del timing. Hanno fatto la diagnosi, me l'hanno aggiustata e non mi hanno fatto pagare mica tanto, sai. Oltreciune, brava gente. I speak my language.
And back in the middle for the umpire to throw it up. Keating up against Pittman. It comes to Boyd. Boyd's kick straight through centre half forward. Voss hasn't had many touches, but he's really gone hard at the ball. And Goodwin has never been more than a cigarette paper away from him.
Drew, Costa and Gallagher both on at that ruck interchange.
A lot of players around this to be thrown up by the umpire late in the first half. Keating contesting, really putting the shoulders to the test. An attempted back heel by Ashcroft. And the umpire will throw it up again.
And after that last goal, Drew, Kim Costa on the ground with David Gallagher.
Just 2 points the margin here. The Crows in front. The Lions have kicked the last 2 goals after quite a long drought. Ball flipped out the back of the pack, cleared by the Crows up towards midfield. Here's Huskus with Eccles across the ground. Huskus giving chase and leading the race. And gains a few metres. And the ball just gets over the line.
And looks like Brian Binky's also come on curls. Was that for Matthew Robram?
Yeah, there's 3 changes, Binky, Costa and Gallagher.
So a throw in at centre wing with just over a minute to go to half-time.
Pittman over the back, wins it well. McLeod. Oh, that's brilliant from McLeod. Didn't take possession, just half did and kicked it out of mid-air. Good handball by Johnson. Rashudo. Long. It's dangerous. Lepic was in front, did well. Kennedy. Now a smaller opponent in Benke. Here's Rashudo who's run on. Kicks it. Kennedy again. Costa, quick give. Rashudo involved 3 times. Drop punt from the pocket. Oh! Has he recovered quick enough? Oh, terrific goal. Free kick.
No, you let him go for it, Drew. You're not going to stop that in Australian rules football.
Take the mark. He just jumped
sole intent was the ball. And, one of the most spectacular pieces of football you'll ever see. Mark Rashudo, how good is he in this passage of play? And again, Kim Costa, we said, why isn't he on the handball out? Rashudo, I think he's going for goal. Well, maybe free kick. I would have, in a court of law, I might concede, but not tonight.
That is disgraceful.
This is a court of law up here.
Look at the scoreboard, boys. Crows 6-5, Lions 5-3.
Yeah, read about it in the paper tomorrow. Read and weep, Brisbane people. Ball in the mud in midfield. Curls, did you get a good look at that? Free kick or not?
I agree with Matty. Free kick.
3-1. Cornsey.
Yeah, no, look, I'll concede, but
4-0.
Good reflex stuff from Troy Bond. And he's, well, having started very shakily, he's bobbed up with 2 goals already.
Well, that was the classic hands on the shoulders and didn't come down with the ball.
Okay.
Ashcroft. Up towards half forward. Malloy palms the ball down to Lappin. Can the Lions get one just before the siren? Well played, Lappin. Longer full forward. Here's a go. Nodding at the back. Couldn't take the mark. Voss, 30 metres out. Nobody on the line. Michael Voss, you beauty.
What do you mean, you beauty?
Because that is class.
Drew, have you got some money on the Lions tonight?
I am not barracking for Brisbane in any shape or form, but that is a class act.
He's been classy all night. He's been gutsy, he's been skillful, and Lappin takes them on, gets some space, kicks to the contest, and young Tim Notting makes the contest, and Voss, well, off 1 foot, really. You're right, Drew, that is class.
If you can't be happy for a Brownlow medalist coming back from a broken leg and kicking a goal like that, you are looking through one-eyed blinkers.
Well, this won't go far. The siren set to sound. Keating, McLeod, not much time left to half-time. There it is, half-time. So a goal, a handy goal by Michael Voss right on the siren. Only 2 points the margin here at the Gabba. After the Lions got away to a good start kicking the first 3, Adelaide kicked the next 5, and now it's a real battle for goals up forward. Marcus Ashcroft covered in mud, as many players are, but it is a 2-point margin for the Crows, and it's one of those games where I don't think the margin, Drew, will be very far between the two teams.
No, absolutely not. There's Tim Notting, who came off the interchange bench, and Michael Voss.
Yeah, I think he's saying about the hands at the back. There's no doubt about that. He's making that point about that you did make, Drew.
Well, it's just a 2-point ball game, 6-5 to 6-3 at half-time.
We know them as cute, cuddly and charming. But Sunday, we uncover their surprising side, discover the glamorous guinea pig, and just why they've become one of our favourite pets on Harry's Practice, 6:30.
Then, guess who's teaching Monica Trafficker the fine art of pottery making?
That's it.
And Point Break meets preschool, when the kids take on surfing champ Bart and Lynch. Kids Speak after Harry's Practice, Sunday on 7.
Come on, sing it for me, girls. Woo! Whoa! No! Here I come now. And you know when you hear me moaning.
The only thing as good as your cherry ripe is someone else's.
Come on, get back in here.
With your normal home loan, you could pay off your home in around 25 years. But with Money for Life from Bank SA, you could pay off your home in around 7 years. And that leaves plenty of time and money to have a family, buy a new car, extend the house, spend on the kids, maybe even see the world. Money for Life.
The Bank of South Australians.
The bargains are getting bigger in the Rocker Brothers Autumn Sale catalogue. A big 6 litres of Castrol XLE, a cheap $11.95. Huge! Save an enormous $10 on an Arlec 4-amp battery charger, only $19.95.
Save how much?
$10, including fitting General Sportiva 13-inch tyres are a bargain $49.90.
Don't miss the bargains in Rocker Brothers Autumn Sale catalogue. Please help.
Well, we're cheaper than the others, so rock in your hand, the brothers. Catalogue in Sundays TV Plus.
Stratco bent over backwards on service and price. Seconds fed sheets from $6.95 each. Laserlight polycarbonate sheeting, $12.45 a metre. Stratco gable garages in a wide range of sizes. Seconds veranda and carport roofing from $8.65 a metre. Stratco modular rainwater tanks. And outback verandas with interest-free terms, only for do-it-yourselfers and only at Stratco.
Right price. Expert advice. See Stratco.
Authentic pepperoni, ham, cabanossi, beef and bacon. It's all on the Pizza Haven Meat Supreme.
For your Pizza Haven, call up Pizza Haven tonight.
See every leather lounge you ever wanted at the lowest price, or it's free at Discount Lounge Centre. The leather experts. Comfort, style, the colours, true luxury. And with our prices, with 18 months interest free, at last it can happen. Discount Lounge Centre, Ranella, Parafield and Keswick.
Planning your retirement or taking a redundancy package? Then you need expert advice from Goldsborough Financial Services. Their team of highly qualified professionals can help secure your financial future. And your first appraisal is free. You can't go wrong.
And welcome welcome back to the Gabba as this stand starts to encircle the ground. Well, it was tight at quarter time, scores level. A blowout in the second quarter, and Crows lead by 2 points. That's how tight it's going to be all night, we reckon. 6-5 to 6 goals 3. And the goal kickers in the first half, well, Michael Voss has had just 4 kicks but 2 great goals, and Darren Jarman kicked 3 brilliant goals in the first quarter in conditions which are very hard in which to kick a goal at all. So just 2 points the difference here at half-time. If you'd like this game or any other game on video, you can dial 1-800-035-665 to name a game. Whichever game you like. If you're a Bulldogs fan, last week's classic at Carlton, even though you lost the game, name a game and there's the number to dial. Well, now down in the offices of the Sunday Herald Sun in Melbourne, Scott Palmer. Good evening, Scotland.
Good evening, Drew. How are you, mate?
I'm well. Now, listen, Collingwood, they have an unenviable record which they broke today.
Yes, 10 losses in a row, and I tell you what, President Eddie Maguire took a page out of Paul Keating today. He said that's the record we had to have. Now, I tell you what, it upset a lot of Collingwood players, but he said that record was made to be broken, but the club's got a meeting with the Commission on Monday and then a 6-hour strategy meeting, Drew, where a lot of issues are going to take place.
How's the Commission going to get them out of trouble?
Well, I'm not too sure, but Tony Shaw, he's got a lot of people baying for blood tonight, and most of it's his. But he said, I reckon it was probably the worst Collingwood side I've seen for 50 years today, but Tony said, I've played him worse. But I tell you what, there was an interesting fact. They had a big presidential luncheon, Drew, and a lady MC got up and she told the latest Collingwood joke. She said, what's the difference between a Collingwood player and a picture of a Collingwood player?
Mm-hmm.
What do you reckon? The picture's been developed.
Oh, right.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
Jeff Geesham very pleased
How'd that
with
go
him.
over?
No, not many laughs, I'll tell you. Yeah,
what about Geesh at Tigerland?
Well, they're very pleased with Aaron James, of course, the former Collingwood player who held Rockoff down for 2 goals, and he played a wonderful game. They said that Geesh gave Jamesy enough rope. I don't know whether it was to hang himself, but actually he's pulled himself up, Drew.
And at Carlton, apparently Ian Collins and Big Jack Elliott got together.
Well, he got into a little bit of mischief up there, Jack. He asked Ian Collins about the Melbourne salary cap probe and how Fremantle actually lost Jeff White. And Collins was forced to admit that the Demons just might have got up to a little bit of skullduggery in getting White. And he said, quote, it's fair to say that clubs who bend the rules may find it'll come back and bite them occasionally. So Melbourne could be in for a little bit of a problem over that probe that's taking place.
And Kevin Sheedy arriving in Perth for the jacket-waving game tomorrow?
Yeah, like a king he arrives over there. 100 people waiting. Dean Wallace will play on Gehrig, which is news to us over here. We thought Wallace had a bit of a doubt about him. But he also took a swipe at the West Coast Eagles for giving the Bombers only 300 tickets to the match. He said, sooner or later, we'll make them pay. I will be waiting when 300 West Coast supporters are lining up to get into the Docklands when we have 51,000 members.
Now, Scotty, when I arrived in Brisbane today, I saw the last quarter and a half of the game between the Dogs and the Saints. Sensational finish out there today.
Yeah, not quite crisis time, apparently, for Dogs and Terry Wallace. But I tell you what, the temperatures are rising. Terry said we can't afford to go into crisis mode. It's one that got away against St Kilda. We're not to the stage yet where we're going to question the players' desires, but he said they're desperate to get a win on the board, and particularly a close one. Timmy Watson, who was under the pump just a couple of weeks ago after the Saints got thrashed, he said he felt sorry for the opposition coach today, losing a close one, but he said we showed plenty of heart and soul out there.
Yeah, it was a great finish, and well done to Tim and the Saints, and well done to you, Scotty.
Keep on punching up there, Drew.
That's it. I'll certainly do that for the second half. What a first half it was. Just 2 points the difference, and we'll be back to talk about the first half with Cornsey after a short break.
Professor Clark had an idea to help some people to hear.
The bionic ear.
This required a tiny implant.
Very small.
But it was only possible with help from telephone engineers here in Melbourne.
They miniaturize the secretary.
Can you imagine the wonderful things that we've all got to look forward to?
Just a little bit too tight, man. You need to loosen up. Be an individual. So what do you want me to do? Well, you can start by eating your pizza the wrong way. Crust first.
Want to try a truly awesome stuffed crust pizza deal from Pizza Hut? One of those so much pizza deals you know you're going to have a great night in? Call 1-311-66 and order an unreal stuffed crust meal deal from Pizza Hut. That's one stuffed crust pizza, a large pan of thin and crispy pizza, a bottle of Pepsi, and a delicious garlic bread from $20.95, home delivered.
That's weird, man. That's too weird.
1-311-66 Pizza Hut.
Cricket's World Cup is not just about runs and wickets. It carries the hearts and hopes of nations. It's about courage and pride and strength of spirit. It's the future of an ancient game, and who has the right to claim its greatest prize?
Although Duff Creek has always been home to the onion, locals are only too aware that it's also the home of onion breath. Until now, thanks to longer-lasting PK, there's a change in the air. The clean, fresh taste of PK lasts even longer, so your breath stays fresh even longer. PK for even longer-lasting fresh breath.
The Crows 98 Premiership Collector's Plate and Club Champion glass set are now available. The individually numbered commemorative plate is truly collectible. It features MCG and player action images with game stats and scores. The 4 glasses feature 8 club champions in action. Phone 1-800-151-777 to order. Both quality products have scratch-proof decals and come with AFL licence certificate. Only $49.95 each. Phone 1-800-151-777 now.
Hey, mate, get a load of that.
Don't trust just anybody.
Anyone?
Anyone with your breath.
Repair.
Oh, repair. Don't trust just anyone with your repair.
Uh-oh. Be sure you see the sign and put your trust in an RAA-approved repairer.
Take 40 Hit Machine 23. Get the buzz with 20 max tracks from Bewitched. 5. Stars on 54. Natalie Imbruglia. Deborah Cox. Goo Goo Dolls, Fat Boy Slim, and heaps more. 20 max tracks. Take 40 Hit Machine 23. It bites. Take 40 Hit Machine 23. It bites.
And welcome back to the Gabba. Half-time here, and it can hardly be any closer. 2 points the lead to the Crows. 6-5 to 6-3 at half-time. Well, in the Mitsubishi moment this week, we're going to be looking at Phil Carman. He probably should be remembered for his football career, but will be forever remembered for this.
He was known simply as Fabulous Phil, until the day at Moorabbin when it all fell apart. It all started innocently enough. Carman whacked St Kilda captain Gary Sidebottom. He promptly had his number taken by field umpire John Morgan and boundary umpire Graham Carberry. Angered and frustrated, Carman headbutted Carberry. Essendon's Tim Watson was on hand.
I was only a kid at the time, and I just I'd played country football. I'd never seen anything like that before. It was the most bizarre thing I'd ever seen in my life. And I just sort of walked in there. I knew him pretty well too. Phil were pretty good mates, and I just sort of tried to drag him away.
Carman would be suspended for 20 matches. He would reappear with Essendon in 1981 and North in 82. Phil Carman, a Mitsubishi memorable moment.
But currently coaching very well in Adelaide. Look, we're not going to talk to Cornsey. We're going to take a look at first half highlights of the game at the SCG. It's the Swans tonight against the Kangaroos.
Comes wide towards Goods, and he does well against Mark. Well played by Adam Goods, although the hand pass is interesting. Ironically, it's finished with Mark. Shot out to him from Durkay. He kicks it down towards half forward. The Carey hand pass to Scholl. Scholl bounces in towards goal. They've got another one. Shane Clayton takes the kick in, looks towards the centre wing. Luff almost got edged out, but McKernan takes the mark.
Yeah, Stafford's in trouble down here.
Stafford is in trouble. Drama here. for Sydney and Greg Stafford. I cannot believe it if a big man has done another knee.
It just seems that the Swans seem to be mishandling the ball, whether they might be just trying too hard at this stage.
Bell takes the hand pass. Good work by Grant and Scholl, and he has finished it off. McKernan again out of the middle. They're doing it with ease as Bell gives it to Archer, who pops it down towards Durkay. Had the Guernsey held for a moment there. The Scholl hand pass is very good indeed. The kick goes up towards the forward line, courtesy of Evan Hewitt, and is the goal kicked by Shannon Grant? Yes, it is. Up towards half forward, but no further than that because Jason McCartney tops it off.
And he's a player that has continued to improve in his time at North Melbourne. He's now at his third club and probably his final club, but he continues to get better as a key position defender.
Here's Blakey, good shepherding, sees him clear to Winston Abraham. Abraham from the centre of the SCG. Flat-looking kick, but an absolute beauty. Fighting Carey.
Well, you can't stop that sort of attack on the football.
He's kicked 496 career goals. Carey from 35 metres should not miss and does not miss.
Now, some of you will be taking a replay of that game after this, so if you don't wish to know the score, look away now. For the second half here between the Crows and the Lions after a short break.
Good evening. There are fears West Lakes has been contaminated by raw sewage. The northern section has been closed until tests can determine if the water's safe. Sewage from a burst main at Royal Park yesterday flowed into the stormwater drain that empties into West Lakes. And 2,000 young job seekers have spent the day queuing for 160 new jobs on offer at the Entertainment Centre and McDonald's. Fine and 22 tomorrow. Good night.
So what do you think?
How's it work again?
Right, we have a cheque account, a savings account and a home loan, right?
Right.
With Meridian, we'd have one account. We'd decide what we'd pay each month on the home loan.
I like that.
Everything we pay, including the loan repayments, comes out of it. And everything we earn goes into it and automatically reduces the loan.
But our bank's not going to let us do that.
It's not our bank.
Hi, this is John Deeks with tonight's Lotto results. Hope you're a winner. A reminder that Lotto information can be obtained by ringing 1900 989 101. For the results of next week's Lotto draw, be watching Channel 7 at this time next Saturday night. Stand by now for more football action.
I have cooked in many kitchens over the years, and without doubt, Albertson kitchens are among the very best. Stunning designs, magnificent workmanship, and incredible attention to detail, all in superb finishes. The finest timbers, laminates, granite, and stainless steel. Call Albert Turner. They'll come to your home and completely design your dream kitchen at a price you'd want to pay. Albert Turner & Son, they are my first choice in kitchens. They're fantastic.
Damn cheap, damn cheap, damn cheap. One of Australia's biggest furniture rental companies dumps the lot. 10,000 pieces of ex-rental and display furniture dumped. Some new, some second-hand. Oh, damn cheap. Lounges, couches, sofa beds. Damn cheap. Dining, kitchen, bedroom. Damn cheap. Ensembles, food-ons, entertainment units. Damn cheap. Computer desks, guest lift chairs, filing cabinets. Damn cheap. Computers, fridges, watches. Damn cheap. Save up to 80% off everything. Ex-rental and display furniture, some new, some second-hand. All must be sold quick. Oh, damn cheap. Well, Mr. Backdrop, the cost. 6.9 Port Road, Lebanon, next to Rockets. Open 7 days or until sold out.
It's back, in the bar at the Oxford Hotel. It's a famous handmade Ox burger with equally famous Oxford fries, plus an ice-cold Hahn Premium, all for a low $7.50. All day, every day.
Singapore Airlines new first class. Now, more than ever, a great way to fly.
And welcome back to the Gabba, a beautiful sight with these alterations being made. Currently, the ground holds about 23,000, and eventually it will be just about encircled totally by this stand, which will be finished in time for the Olympic Games next year when they'll be playing soccer here, and it'll be absolutely fantastic. And eventually, the capacity here is going to be 37,000. And
well, they certainly have that great stadium feel, and a possibility, if they do something with the social club, to take it to 42.
That'll be something. Well, Curls is down there on the construction side of the ground, and he's got a mate.
Yeah, I've got my mate behind me. I'm just right here to have a nip in a minute, but it's been pretty dry for the last 20 minutes, and no rain has fallen, so perhaps we may see some better conditions to handle the ball. But it's amazing to see guys like McLeod and Voss, naturally gifted players. They just don't have any trouble at all.
Well, that was certainly the case, wasn't it, with Michael Voss with his goal right on the siren. So we start the second half here at the Gabba. Umpire throwing the ball up in the mud heap in the middle, but no rain at the moment. Just 2 points the margin. Boyd's in there fighting for the ball. The ball comes out looking the worse for wear, covered in mud. Calthorpe caught in a good tackle by Edwards. Great pickup by Eccles. It was fantastic. Out close to the boundary line, Scott applying the tackle. Edwards thrown over the boundary line, ball and all. Actually, the umpire says, no, give it to me. He's going to throw it up. It's not going to be a boundary throw-in. And the umpire is going to ball it up. Darren Goldsmith just inside the boundary line. 41 to 39 in favour of the Crows. Keating doing a great job with those reconstructed shoulders. And the ball out of bounds just about 10 metres further along.
Yes, Mark Prosciutto has been moved to half forward. He's picking up, or he'll be picked up by Adam Huskis, who had a tremendous first half, but basically playing as a loose player. Darren Jarman back at full forward for the start of this quarter.
McLeod's kick doesn't go far. Knocked forward by Boyd. Black leads smart to the ball. Good tackle applied by Mark Stevens on Simon Black, who's on the forward line. David Calthorpe was started on the forward line for the Lions.
And Tim Notting at full forward also for the Lions, Matthew.
So Keating to do battle again. He wins the knock again. McRae. That one's not going far. That's out of bounds on the full. Craig McRae, who a wonderful first half with 17 possessions.
He just caught on his right foot there, which is his wrong foot, of course. He's going to get the ball back to the centre.
So Stevens to the centre wing. Keating lost sight of it for a second. Tap forward, Ashcroft to Keating. A little bit of finesse by the big man in the wet weather won't get him far. Prosciutto leads Huskis to the ball. Beautiful work, but he picked out Ashcroft, who in turn can't take clean possession. Huskis back, but only as far as Nigel Smart. Nigel Smart, he has Nathan Bassett in the middle, but decides to go long. Looking for Robrin. Kennedy with him as usual. He's doing well on Robrin Kennedy. Backs up. Good tackle by Costa. Keeps the ball in the area for the Crows. Chris Scott in there working. Also Lambert looking to get one. And not going far again. So good work by the Adelaide Crows to keep the ball in the area. And Neil, you've got the Adelaide Crows bench?
I have, we have Downsborough, Burton, Binky and Gallagher.
Thrown up. Keating gets a hand to it. Ackermanis applying the tackle. The umpire will throw it up again.
While we're there, I have the Brisbane Lions bench, which is Champion, Dick Voss, Clark, O'Brien.
Yeah, Champion's just come on, Curls. He's gone down to full forward. He's 50 metres in the clear by himself, so if you get the ball to him, it'll be dangerous.
By Huskis up towards midfield. White. And he'll take a free kick, grab before he got the ball. And Darryl White took the free at the back edge of the centre square. Good run by Ackermanis. And a perfect pinpoint pass by White. Ackermanis off the left. This is good. Right out in front of Champion. Got hands to it. Couldn't take the mark. Calthorpe the Champion. Champion concedes some ground. Ashcroft sets up and goes to the goal line. Didn't quite kick it hard enough. And Pittman gets back to take the mark.
Yes, it nearly worked for Brisbane. They snuck Champion on and snuck him down the wing. They made the change, but the ball came to him with a pretty good pass. He just couldn't hold it in these conditions.
fair either, Grant. They didn't tell me.
Well, they don't tell you everything, Curls. Most things, but not everything. Pittman took a long time to kick it, and in the end, it's just been a poor kick because he's kicked it straight out of bounds. So Brad Boyd to send it back to where it just came from, and that is amazing, isn't it? Now, that happened quite a lot last night in the game between Melbourne and Hawthorn on the grandstand side of the MCG. Repeated kicks out on the full. So an opportunity lost by Boyd. As we see Tim Notting, who went off for Richard Champion, getting some work on his ankle there.
Well, he's obviously injured his ankle, but he didn't appear to be in the contest to do that.
So, replay. Take two. Kennedy from behind. Down in front was Robrin. Wherever Robrin's gone, Kennedy's gone.
It's a real arm wrestle at the moment. I guess what either side didn't want was for the other one to come out and kick a couple of quick goals at the start of the third quarter. So consequently, they're really closing each other down. Somebody has to break the pattern, though.
Keating, got a height advantage. Eccles, terrific first half. Once again. And umpire Brett Allen blowing time on. So a lot of players around the ball.
Andrew Eccles has been tremendous for the Crows. 17 possessions in the first half and just handles the ball even in these conditions. Very skillfully.
Ashcroft, he doesn't get far. We get a boundary throw in. So stop-start here at the Gabba. No change to the half-time score. Marcus Ashcroft played his 200th game last week. A terrific effort. Still 27. Still a lot of football left in him. Good shot there of the ruck duel. It spills to McRae. And again, Drew, it's deja vu.
Fast and furious, boys, isn't it?
Come on, Drew, get him out of there, please.
His ankle problems there for Notting. Doesn't look too comfortable with that. Keating again. A big leap by Darryl White. Now, that is worth a kick. That's gone 25 metres up towards the 50. But out again. Just off the boot, out on the full of Stevens. And it'll be quickly taken by Malloy. He goes to the top of the goal square. They get back in numbers, the Crows, and are rushed behind. Bassett.
Nathan Bassett with that characteristic left-hand spoil. He floats back. And interesting tussle there, but Darryl White knew what he was doing.
Terrific hit up the ground. The Lions ruckmen are getting their hands to the ball, but they're not just getting many possessions. Matthew Clark, we've got him for one hand pass only, and Keating, 3 kicks, 1 hand pass. But it isn't a night for big fellas.
David Pittman's done right, though, Drew. He's had 6 kicks, 5 handballs. 4 marks.
Well, there has been a bit of a problem with the Lions ruckman for a while. With Clark, he had a down season last year. He certainly gets a lot of hit-outs, but doesn't get many possessions.
No, the ruckman today really has to drop back and take field marks.
Well, knocked the ball deep into the attacking 50. Here's Stevens again, looking for the boundary line, but this time he bounces it just the right side for a throw-in.
You can hear the coaches at half-time saying, guys, I don't care how ugly it is, just control the ball and play the percentages.
So once again, another boundary throw-in. This time Pittman gets rid of Keating. Goes forward. Here's Ashcroft on the up to Lambert, hugging the boundary. Lambert towards Voss, but it bounces over. We have a tie ball game. 6-5 apiece.
Good movement by Lambert, but Voss just slipping at a critical stage.
So we find, Graham, too, in these conditions like this, each team just seems to have a bit of a momentum run, and they've got to score their goals. Brisbane are not doing that at the moment.
To the outer side, White forcing it back. James, good hands. Stevens, scragged by White, brought to ground. Chance for Malloy. Malloy holds it up for a second to White. He holds it up. He's not going anywhere. There's a lot of Crows there, and one of them is Tyson Edwards. Around the boundary, he goes towards Robrin. Kennedy with the pressure once again, and another boundary throw-in.
Yeah, that point of curls, invariably what happens, the team that controls it, it's a good tackle by Darryl White. The team that defending just goes down and scores a goal very quickly.
Darryl White sometimes can be hot and cold, but he is really having a dip. The hit out a couple of minutes ago, and that tackle, just a real purple patch for Darryl White.
He's so athletic, Drew. He can get to the contest, whether that be in the air or on the ground. He just can make the ground to the contest. It's then whether he controls the ball or not. David Pittman, good, up strong, but they just haven't got quite enough system around him to work off those hit-outs.
And we're going to give the umpires a wrap here, too, in these conditions. I think they're controlling the game very, very well.
Ball to be thrown up by umpire Goldsby. Another dead period of play. I might ask you about the merits of throwing it up rather than bouncing. It's been a bit of a discussion lately. Well, eventually they sorted out here with a free kick to Keating.
Yeah, well, you sense maybe that was just to break the play up.
Yes, I certainly do. He kicks into Pittman, who touches it on the mark, goes to Ashcroft. Hurried kick by Ashcroft, down towards half forward, but a good defensive mark to Stevens.
Mark Stevens has been a very good defender for the Crows this year.
Breaks from centre half back to half forward with a mighty kick in the conditions. Ball flipped on. Lepich is back there playing on Jarman. Great clearing kick by Lepich, but onto the chest of Edwards. He hand passes it out to a player who had his back to it, but what a pick up by Eccles. Eccles left footer towards the 50. Well done.
Did it beautifully, didn't he? Yes, James Tyson was under the ball. Adam Eustace just had to get there. He just had to get there, and that's exactly what he did.
Gee, this is tight. I don't want to harp on it, but we're going to think about the importance of that non-free kick to bomb in a game that could be decided by a point.
Well, we've had a couple of close ones already in round 4 of the AFL this week. Here's Edwards. Here's to Eccles. Almost again. What we do here, it's a clever tap on. Edwards, Tyson it was. Robin quick hands to Rashudo. Tyson gets it from him. Centering kick, dangerous kick. Jarman back there, going back with a big punch. Chris Scott, a strong punch, and relieve the pressure. And that's something we've... Causey, I don't know if you've been watching, but the big, strong punch, we haven't seen a lot of it lately.
Batty, why didn't he mark the ball?
Oh, Kels, he just had to get there. He was off balance. He didn't have real control. He made sure the ball was destroyed first, and I don't think a coach would be unhappy with that.
In these conditions, he's played the percentages first.
Yeah, and that's the way the kid plays. I mean, you wouldn't be critical. He just gives it 100%. He gets to the contest and just...
Back yourself in, have a go at it.
He just had to get there first.
20 metres out from the Crows' goal. Can they get a clean kick? Here's Scott again. Lawrence working with him. McLeod appealing for a free kick, as is David Pittman, so there won't be. So, again, umpire Ray Kelsey.
What was David Pittman doing then?
Some exercise. Still in the Crows' danger zone, though. Scores level. Scores very hard to come by. Punch forward by Lappin. Costa does well. Tackled by Scott. Edwards knocks it towards Bickley. 3 or 4 players over the ball, but the Lions have got it outside there. Defensive 50.
Kim Costa, the only one with clean shorts on at the moment. His teammates will rib him about that. There he is, number 5.
Brad Boyd with him. This time, they both go a bit early, but Keating gets a hand though. Costa's shorts won't be that white for long if he stays on the ground there. Right on the 50, they'll get green.
Well, both coaches have got their players on the ground that will give the contest, that are not scared to hit through the body and the player with the ball.
Gee, these ruckman have just been charging at each other. Are they going to be sore at the end of this game?
Look, it's not pretty, but it's probably a very good game of playing because it's a very, very physical game, and not many players don't enjoy that.
Keating and Pittman go again, and neither get it 1 centimetre offline. Oh, Lambert, beautifully played. The hand pass out. Ashcroft, a long kick to half forward. Champions there with Bassett. Good chase by Malloy. Good hands. And Champion trying to keep the ball in. Malloy's there to help him. Back he comes to O'Brien. Luke the ball. Up short of the 50. Lappin. It gets to the back. Michael Ross. Nobody in front of him. Ross 40 metres out. Misses. Passes it. Right. Martin goal.
Tuesday.
Bring a little style and warmth to this family room.
How to use rugs to transform your home. And the secrets to creating an old favourite.
Truly fabulous lemon and poppy seed cake.
It's Australia's most popular lifestyle program. Better Homes and Gardens. Then let loose for adventure.
It was fantastic.
And an unforgettable African experience. Plus, relax on the balmy waters of the South Pacific.
Ideal for anyone with a yearning to satisfy their seafaring spirit.
The great outdoors after Better Homes and Gardens Tuesday.
They've lost the ball, I think. The ball's gone into the construction site.
The helmet men have trouble finding it, so a new ball coming out.
There it is.
There it is. Come over back. Yep, somebody's down there.
Well, it gives us time to say, yeah, I thought Bossy was going for the goal, but on replay, definitely went the measured pass to the goal square.
So Darryl White gets his first, and the Lions finally break this deadlock and get 6 points clear. Good work by Champion and Malloy. Never say die. The ball's always alive, especially in your own forward line. Lambert, who started the deadlock, or broke the deadlock really, getting it clear from his half-back line to get something moving. Loves being on the bottom of the pack, Craig Lambert. Pittman. Black, round the body, off one step, going back, Bassett. Here's Champion. Can the Lions get 2 in a row? Champion from 40 metres, hooks the kick. Minor score resulting.
Well, I've seen poorer marks than that, I suppose, played in worse conditions. Nathan Bassett, you would have thought, held that ball long enough. David Pittman coming off the ground again.
It's the sort of game where you couldn't ruck for all 4 quarters. You're going to be
maybe
dead.
Maybe Blight suspects the momentum is just slightly swinging Brisbane's way.
Not a bad kick straight up the ground. It's right into the centre square. Prosciutto's hand pass to Smart. He's run down and tackled by White. Play on, says the umpire, but the Crows still have it. Ball comes out here to Tyson. Tyson to full forward. Jarman gets away from Lepich. Lepich closes the gap on him. Well played, Lepper. A former forward. Turned back into trouble. The hand pass blocked. Oh, and blocked again. Jarman a smother, and the ball for a throw in the forward pocket.
Yes, good contest there. He just couldn't control the ball when he was on the lead, and Lepich did well to dispossess him, but what all good forwards did. Lepich, well, indecision there, and good work by Kane Johnson. Good desperate work by the Adelaide forwards.
Clark on for Keating there. Yes, we saw when Pittman went off, Keating went straight with him. A snap for goal. Andy McLeod, brilliant.
Well, he has been brilliant.
Aye, we were off for a wee break with the wains, and the collar was like a cow. And would you know about Kennett? Clunk, clunk, clunk. I'm stood there right glaikit with the wains shouting, "Oh, Farah, you ken you're nothing but a big dunderhead." So I skedaddled right into Ultratune and told the laddie about the clunk, clunk, clunk. He says, "Oh, your shock absorbers are out the windy, man," and made a rare job of them. Understood me perfectly, he did.
Crows get it back to the solitary point, courtesy of Andrew McLeod. Brilliant work from Robin. Here's Smart. Bassett stands his ground. Working in there is Black. On top of him, Edwards. Ball up, as you can see, just under 9 minutes remaining.
Matty, this is the danger period now for the Crows. Clark will certainly outleap Downsborough.
We saw Clark Keating on the bench there, Curls, with something on his left thigh. Is he okay?
I'll check him out for you.
Here's Curls.
It's just Lawrence. The problem with a footballer hasn't had a lot of football. They're subject to soft tissue injuries, aren't they?
Well, here's Black. He can't get it far. Working in traffic was Eccles. The free kick has been paid. It's going back to Andrew Eccles.
Well, I reckon that if Clark Keating gets out of bed before about Thursday, he'll be going well. Oh, what a night he's had. Just body contact all night from start to finish. Boyd, a hurried kick. Here's a chance. Malloy on the 50, close to the boundary line. Lions lead by a point. Malloy's kick to the goal square. Voss is there.
Well, he ran strongly. He's playing in defence at the moment. He ran very strongly. He's been on bond at the first start of this quarter. But Malloy saw him moving, and Nakamanis just had the set.
Keating's okay, fellas. He's warming up.
Thanks, girls. Nakamanis to give the Lions a 7-point lead. And he kicks it deep into the construction site.
Yeah, what was it? Cartons of Southwark Bitter. $23.99.
Kaiser Store Cards, $8.99.
Cartons of West End Light, $18.99.
CBS Champagne, $6.99. Or $72 a dozen.
Johnny Walker Red, $26.99, and a chance to win a trip to Scotland.
See you there, Johnny.
If you like to sip and you want to save, you can't go past your local Sip and Save.
Second goal for the third quarter for the Lions.
And a pretty important one too, Matthew, because...
well, we know how hard they've beaten in this third quarter. Clark in the ruck. Now down on the ground. Picks up a big lump of mud. Happened to have a ball underneath him. White taps it onto McRae. He gets a kick around the body. Bassett with that left-hand punch. O'Brien gets knocked over by his own man, Malloy. But it comes to Boyd. The Lions have some numbers here. Here's Lappin. Will he go short? Gets it back to Boyd from 50. Two steps, Brad Boyd kicks. Champion and Bassett. Bassett does well. And he'll get the free kick. He held his ground and Champion forced to retard him by grabbing on.
Yes, I think Curls is right. I think David Pittman has to come back on pretty quickly.
So Bassett kicks towards the construction side of the ground. Boyd, a big leap. And the ball goes out of bounds. Be giving chase.
He's definitely been busy. 13 kicks, 6 handball, Brad Boyd.
Mark quickly, just 6 possessions. Clark. Downsborough applies the tackle once Clark tries to take clean possession. Black underneath the pack. Yeah, working hard. Malloy ducks into trouble in the shape of Stevens. Hurried kick by Rashuto. Ball punch to the front. Gallagher. And the youngster Gallagher will take a free kick for a high tackle. David Gallagher.
He has been good. His first game was a little bit disappointing, but since then he's worked very well for the Crows.
From centre wing to a big pack. Robrin. And down in front, guess who? Lambert. Back to Ackermanis, who kicked that goal a moment ago, coming up from the back pocket.
Spoil comes to Costa. Ashcroft and Ackermanis there. Extra numbers for the Lions. Tackled by Benke on Ashcroft, but he managed to keep his wherewithal and find the boundary and relieve the pressure just slightly by about 10 or 15 metres. David Pittman looking on.
Looks like Mark Bickley's playing on the wing on Nigel Lappin, but the centre break stats there.
Lions on top there. Coming forward, Bassett leading Champion Hewitt. Smart, a little bit of indecision may have cost him there. Rashuto, beautiful hands. Johnson now, low and hard. Good kick. Gallagher just can't quite grab it. Lawrence comes in. It's a good tap on. It's come to Benke. Now Benke's kick is high and long. Lepage underneath it and takes the mark. He'll play on. He loves to do that because out in front of him, 40 metres away, is Nigel Lappin. Lappin's got it. Above it, ahead of him, is O'Brien trying to force him to kick over his head, and he has done that. Running hard onto the ball is Boyd. Boyd inside 50. Hooks it back, hooks it too far, over the top of Goodwin and Voss. Goodwin will be happy to find the boundary. He does. The 95 and 96 best and fairest for the Lions saying, surely that was deliberate, surely there was no pressure on him, but he's not getting any answer from the umpire.
Matty Ackermanis and Lepage back here are in control because Bond is really filling the pitch back here.
They're probably trying to give him a rest, Curls. I think he hasn't had any football at all.
So Goodwin to take the free kick. Just 5 minutes to three-quarter time. 7-point lead to the Lions. Up short of centre wing. A punch by Kennedy. Downsborough ripped through. Now Robrin. Low to the ground. Benke can't take the mark. Lawrence.
Bit of a spark in the Lions at the moment. They just seem to be more lively.
Pretty sensible umpiring too then, because in previous weeks and years you would have seen a free kick awarded against Lawrence then for holding the ball.
Lambert quickly pushing back was Malloy. Did well on side of Champion. That's a great take. Lappin under some pressure finds Shane O'Brien. So a little bit of class in the conditions there from the Lions has given Shane O'Brien a shot from about 35 to 40 metres. Probably kick it from 40.
And he has never kicked a goal for the Lions.
Well, that means he's never kicked a goal in the AFL. And here he goes now. From just over the 40, Shane O'Brien has joined a long list of AFL footballers.
Collided with another driver at a roundabout. Now, I hadn't been with Amy very long. I'd swapped from another company I'd been with for at least 20 years because of the increase in premiums. Amy's service was fantastic. It was very personal, it was very sympathetic, it was very efficient, and it was very fast. They arranged to have the car towed to their customer service centre. I got a refund cheque for the whole of the insured value within a couple of days. It was just so easy with Amy. It really was.
3 goals to 1 in this quarter, and the Lions now lead by 13 points. Could be a very decisive margin in a tight game like this. Johnson, a high ball to centre half forward. Gets to the back of the pack. Bond after it. Socket away by Scott. just chuck themselves in everywhere. Here's the goal kicker, O'Brien, up towards the front edge of the centre square. Ball knocked on. Clever by Lappin, but chopped off by Stevens for the Crows. Back to centre wing. Hitting it hard, Lawrence. Good kick to Champion.
Well, you just sense the Lions are a little bit inspired, Drew. There's some sharpness about them.
Kick by Champion. Malloy in the middle of the pack. Voss at the front. Good body work by Goodwin.
They're just getting a few more players around the ball, and those bodies are getting to the ball first, which is a worrying sign for the Crows.
Well, if they kick another one out of this, it'll be pretty tough for the Crows in the last quarter. 3-goal break or more.
Clark.
Voss hasn't made the distance. We might call it a pass yet. Malloy has it. Ashcroft couldn't get boot the ball. Smart can.
Doesn't get it far though. McRae, he's a goal kicker. Round the body goes McRae. Oh, well left by Black. Another goal for Lions.
Well, a very, very good goal by McRae. He was going to go on his right boot. Stott came back and just able to get the work on the ball to get it back. It could have been marked by Simon Black, but he let it go. And really, just watch here.
The soccer here, Graham, from Smart. I know he's in defence. I know it's the pressure, but it's almost like...
Oh, I don't think he just didn't get enough boot on.
Yeah, it's almost like he just couldn't quite get his boot right to it.
Now, the young fella could have marked it.
He hit it fat.
He got it fat. There, take the bogey.
But Clark absolutely dominating the ruck, which I think has been the significant point of this quarter.
So all of a sudden, the Lions have got it out to a lead. They'll be very happy the way it's going. They've got the momentum. In the mud patch, working was Boyd, also Rashudo. McRae, we'll count that as a kick because he's pushed it forward. Johnson leading White to it. Johnson, White did well, did very well. Saw Champion, just got a foot to it. They work it forward again, another possession. Simon Black. So here come the Lions once again. He kicks that, keeps it low to Voss. It's a beautiful kick. And Michael Voss, and Drew, as you mentioned, he hasn't had a lot of possessions, but he is being damaging because he's lining up for his 3rd goal of the evening.
Just, look, don't you love the way this guy takes the ball? Look at that. It's copybook football. The kick was beautiful.
Justin Lepich had run 150 metres almost. It's gone from goal square to goal square just to test out Darren Jarman. But Voss from 40 metres. It goes wide. Lepich may mark this. Getting a hand on it, though, with the Crows to push it over the line. That player was Eccles, I think.
I'll repeat what I said in the second quarter. Rashudo on Voss for mine. He's too good at this stage for an underdone Goodwin.
A long way back for Darren Jarman.
Now, you'd think that would be holding, wouldn't you? Clark with his left hand holding Downsbury out. The umpire having a good look at it, but allowing it to go.
Here's full forward and full back, making their way back about 180 metres down the ground.
They're not going too fast.
Darren Jarman has to make him work back, like sprint back.
He can't.
Well, you can always find a bit extra, but he's content to stop.
He couldn't do the time trials in the off-season, could he?
Yes, but he finally did them. Now, if the fullback is going to sprint forward, you've just got to make him sprint back, but he hasn't made him work at all there.
See, if they get another one, it'll nearly kill the game for the Crows, but Smart defends well. This time he clears the area. Lap and a hurried kick. This is not bad. Just offline.
Yeah, it's a bit of urgency now about the Crows. They cannot allow the Lions to get another goal, and Malcolm Blight can't do too much because it's nearly 3/4 time.
And the margin is 20 points. Clever tap there from White, getting it back to Lappin, almost making the most of it. Bassett, good kick, long, clears. Punch forward by Malloy, though. Here they go again. Lambert does well to spot Ashcroft. He can't take it cleanly. Smart under pressure from him. Here's Brett James. Quick kick around the body, but only as far as Darrell White. Time running out for the Lions. It's almost 3/4 time. Champion, who have to do something quickly. He's going to. He steadies now. From the pocket, he's found Simon Black. Goal! Wow.
Oh, dear me.
So just before 3/4 time, and in the second half of this 3rd quarter, the Lions have taken control of this match and have got it out to a 26-point margin.
Well, you watch you won't see the punch come back from the kickoff. It was a risky kick from White, but Champion keeping his feet, dashing forward, could have gone for goal. Saw young Black. Well, he was risky playing on. Only seconds to go before the siren. But an absolutely vital break for the Lions, and you'd suggest almost a match-winning one. It's a funny game, though.
Incredible the burst the Lions have put on late in this third quarter.
Yes, but you can see Clark all over Ian Downswood there.
There's the siren for three-quarter time. Well, earlier on in the game, at one stage Adelaide kicked 5-5 while the Lions kicked a point. So they're not safe yet, even though it looks pretty handy at 26 points at the last change. But that was a quarter in which the Lions rushed on 5 goals to 1. In fact, the Crows kicked just one straight goal, just one scoring shot in that third quarter. Last week, the third quarter was the winner for them against St Kilda. It might be the loser this week. It's 73-47.
Tonight's weather update brought to you by...
Thanks, Mum.
Hello again. Another beautiful day tomorrow with light winds and calm seas. On local waters, northeasterly winds reaching 5 to 10 knots all day, with seas below half a metre. In the city, we'll have a cool to cold night, dropping down to just 7 degrees, and then a fine and sunny day with a top of 22 degrees. Looking ahead, Monday, fine and 22. Tuesday, a few showers down to 18, and warming up again on Thursday. Enjoy the football. Good night.
How can a humble spud help thousands of seriously ill children? Come to McDonald's during McHappy Month, and 10 cents from Australia's favourite large fries goes to help our small fry.
One of the most critical partnerships on Earth is that of pilot and navigator. One provides the analysis, the other makes the decisions. Norwich Union encourage you to think of your financial advisor as the navigator. Someone armed with the latest financial reporting and planning systems available. Let's go. All of which puts you in the pilot's seat.
Fishing for a bargain? Well, hook up with your nearest Bunnings store for the lowest prices every day. Rich Crow snail pellets, $1.98. 6-litre Walpamure low sheen acrylic, $33.90. 40-piece socket set, $9.95. Seagrass doormats, $1.50 each. 9.6-litre plastic bucket, 87 cents. And if you happen to find an identical product at a cheaper price elsewhere, we won't just match it, we'll beat it by 5%. Lowest prices are just the beginning.
Take 40 Hit Machine 23. Get the buzz with 20 max tracks from Bewitched. 5. Fat Boy Slim and heaps more. Take 40 Hit Machine 23. It bites. You can tell who uses Valvoline.
The Valvoline Commodore comes across the line for the win. The 26-year-old from Melbourne, well done.
You can tell who uses Valvoline. You can tell. You know what I mean. You can tell who uses Valvoline.
You can tell who uses new generation Valvoline. You know what I mean.
Preparing exterior timber is hard work. After sanding, you then have to apply a filler. Then put on a primer. Then put on the undercoat. But now you can cover all those steps in one application with new Polycoat Once. Scrape off any loose paint, and one coat of Polycoat Once fills, primes, and undercoats. After that, all you do is put on the gloss. Give all weathered exterior timber the Polycoat Once Over.
As we journey into the 21st century, the search will continue for new horizons, new ways of thinking, new opportunities. Whether your challenges take you around the corner or around the globe, make sure you carry the right financial equipment for your future. Diners Club, your new card is here.
Most of the Gabba fans will be pretty happy with what they saw in the third quarter. A 5-goal-to-1 third term, and they've opened up a 26-point lead, 11-7 to 7-5.
7 Sport hope you're enjoying this match as part of the 1999 Coca-Cola AFL Premiership season.
Well, the match at the Sydney Cricket Ground between the Sydney Swans and the Kangaroos, we've had a report on Greg Stafford. Apparently his knee, the early prognosis is that it's not season-threatening, which is good because too many ruckmen have gone down injured. But if you don't wish to know the score because you're copping a replay after this, look away now.
Right
Talking footy on Monday night, and Geelong coach Gary Ayres is the special guest as he joins Tim Lane. Mike and Terry on the couch on Monday night. Now, special guest with curls at three-quarter time.
Well, Sean, first off, how's the knee coming along?
Yeah, very good. Yeah, I'm just up on my feet, and yeah, it's going okay.
Not a good quarter for the Crows, that one.
No, it wasn't. The last 10 minutes, you know, they won down to the centre, and Clark made quite a bit of difference there in the end, and it's going to be very tough to get back from there.
Think the Crows can get back?
Oh, I'll give them a shot at it. If we can go a little bit more direct, and we might have a chance.
Good luck, old boy. Back to you, Drew.
Thanks, girls. Great to see Sean Wren getting around without crutches tonight. That's terrific. And Darren Jarman's gone in the middle for this last quarter.
Yes, so's Mark Rasciuto too, Drew. They've just put their strongest players, James, Rasciuto, Jarman, and Pittman wasn't injured at all, so he's back on the ball. But you'd think the momentum has swung too far in Brisbane's way. But
give them a chance. Give the Crows a shot.
Well, look, I think in these conditions, that lead is probably going to be too much. But as I said before, and somebody had a shot at me about it, football is a funny game.
We're laughing. Thrown up in the middle with a nice, clean football. It won't be like that for too long. Well, it didn't hit the mud, and Jarman got a kick out of the middle.
As long as you get the first kick and the first mark before it hits the deck.
Scott comes wide, still hasn't hit the deck yet. To Lawrence, from centre wing. Deep inside half forward he goes. Voss trying to work his man under the ball. Smart the hand pass. Chopped off by Lappin. Shot for goal by Lappin. Offline and behind.
Well, under pressure there, the Adelaide defence couldn't clear it. Nigel Lappin with his left boot. It's a difficult kick anyway with your correct foot when you try and bend the ball around with your left foot. It's even more difficult.
Just the signs from the lines there, Graham, peeling off from the half-back line. Confidence has grown, so they're leaving their man to create the loose man as Steve Lawrence did then.
They just don't want to lose this game. They just seem to be more urgent about it.
Almost a miraculous mark by Black. Smart on hands and knees. Ankles trying to do likewise, as Ashcroft does. So they're all down low. It spills out to Boyd. O'Brien, wrapped up by Rasciuto, thrown to the ground by Edwards in a gang tackle.
Well, the kid from Beaufort's been good, hasn't he? He hasn't had a lot of football, but he's been right in the action here. Kicked a very good goal. There he is. He's put his body over it, taken the player coming at him. And I'm not sure who's flung who to the ground there.
So here, the quick kick from Black. Off the ground was Scott. Back to where it came. Matthew Clark saying that's holding the ball. I very much doubt it. And down on the boundary, Neil Kelly, but the bench.
Interchange for Lions. Dick Voss, Keating, Notting won't play again, and Calthorpe.
Thanks, girls. Smart. Smothered by Lappin. Bickley. Very good in those circumstances because he can keep his head. Now the mud's on the ball. It's completely covered in it, but it won't stop Andrew McLeod picking it up. Forces it forward. Chance for the Crows now. Costa with strength. Gallagher. Does he keep his feet? He does. Gives a chance for Johnson, who hooks it back to Jarman, who's drifted down, and there he is.
Just magnificent the way he can control that. Look, it's not an easy ball to take because it's spinning away from him. It's dropping a lot more quickly than a normal kick would. But he just gets back around, sees it. His hand-eye coordination is absolutely magnificent. And if anybody can get the Crows back into this game, he can.
I'm in a change for Adelaide while we're there. Downsborough, Burton, Tyson, Wintle.
So Darren Jarman, who kicked 3 goals in the first quarter. They trail by 27 points. So that tells the story and the importance of this kick. It was kicked into the man on the mark. So things going right for the Lions. Well worked on the mark by Chris Scott. It's a skill that a lot of people think will take for granted. Now it's out on the centre wing. Gallagher. High, looking for Benke. Getting back light. Roving the crumbs was Ashcroft. And they've relieved the pressure quite well.
And here's a replay of Jarman's kick for goal.
Yeah, we see Scott on the mark and had gone back a couple of steps and ran up to the mark and just unsettled Darren Jarman.
Lambert, another hand pass in close. To Clark, a high ball to the wing. Of a wrestle before it came down to terra firma. Bickley's had a quiet night as far as possessions are concerned. Johnson ducking, weaving, getting himself into trouble. Stevens tackled hard, the umpire couldn't see that on the blind side.
Nice little back heel by Mark Bickley. I don't think too many people would have seen it. Back to Kane Johnson, but Kane Johnson unable to break free.
Keating stretching. Clark wins.
Clark's dominated these last 15 minutes of football.
Well, actually, the period of the game where Adelaide were most on top, late in the first quarter, that's when Clark went off.
Plus, we've got a situation where the conditions have improved as the game's gone on. So here's Clark again. To the advantage of Lambert, and Lambert with a measured little soccer. Graham, if we could just go back to that working the mark that Chris Scott did when you were coaching. You just tell a player on the mark to never give up, to always assume that you can get a hand on it, not to assume the player will kick the goal.
Disciplined player will always get his hands up and make the player kick over him, and will do whatever you can to unsettle the player kicking the goal. You just cannot concede that he's going to kick. And David Pittman is absolutely furious with this free kick that's been paid against him in the ruck contest.
So Matthew Clark.
But even then, he's got his hands up.
Trying to work the mark as well. Clark kicking, looking up forward for Malloy. Comes to ground. Coming through without the ball with Lambert. Likewise, McLeod. And another ball up just outside the attacking 50.
Clark's second kick tonight, and probably about his sixth of the season.
Graham, I don't like to say this early, but the Crows just haven't got enough winners around the ground to control this game.
No, I think it's a combination of last week's disappointment for Brisbane, and they've got a sniff now, and you know what happens to the morale of the side when they've been disappointed and they can see a win in their side. They're just getting players enthusiastically around the ball, and I find it very hard to predict the Crows coming back from here.
Well, they're making every opportunity here because they've worked very, very hard when the Lions seem to have a clear possession. But going forward as the kick was White and taking a good mark Bassett. He's away. Nathan Bassett. Long kick, looking for Bond. Also back there, Costas. Ball well by Huskis. Ackermanis now. Can he pick it up? Bond went straight past him, and Ackermanis now with some time to get it to McRae. McRae. Huskis provides the run. Huskis long over the back. Who's going to get back first? Goodwin leads Voss. Goodwin looking for the boundary once again and finding it. But they move the ball quickly and their ball in just to the side of the behind post.
Simon Goodwin playing his first AFL game for the season. He played a half a game in the reserves for South Adelaide last week. Some sort of a preparation for this. Knocked by Malloy towards the goal square. Here's a chance for the Lions. Black taken away by Smart and the ball out of play.
Boyd off, Calthorpe on.
Yeah, so David Calthorpe has not had a lot of time on the ground either this week or last week. You just wonder whether the Brisbane match committee are running him into the game or whether they're just not sure of where to use him.
Pittman gets gloves to it. Voss works hard. Black up and down the mine shaft. Goes goalwards. McRae off the ground. Across the goal square. Taken to the line. Well done by Tyson Edwards. Ball out of play. 74-47, and they've used up a bit of time in this last quarter. Neither side has added a goal. In fact, the only score has been a behind of the Lions. We have 14 and a half minutes left.
Here's Malloy. Juggling. Gets a foot to it. Just staying in. So another repeated boundary throw-in. Still in the Lions' forward pocket. But from their point of view, they'd be very comfortable with the fact that they're doing the attacking and they've got the ball where they want it as they lead. Here's Malloy. Another chance. Kicks it high. Voss and Goodwin. What will Voss do? Can he keep it in? Yes. With strength, gets it back beautifully to McRae, but he's just the wrong side of the post, is he? Gee, what about that for the goal?
What drama.
Luke, Roberto Benini, where are you?
I'd have to say, though, Michael Voss just starting to lead Simon Goodwin to the ball a little bit too often. And I think Simon Goodwin's lack of legs is probably starting to count against, as is Troy Bonds at the other end of the ground.
Look over his shoulder as he kicks in. Straight up the centre of the ground. He's kicked it a good 60 metres into the centre square. At the bottom of the pack, Lambert. Well, through Ashcroft it goes. McRae again. Offline again.
Well, they're comfortably in front, otherwise those missed goals would be very, very expensive. But you can see the discipline of the players on the kickoff. The Brisbane Lions players are screaming. If it's in the air, all they want to do is get the fist to it and thump it back into their forward line. We'll see it again from Clark here, but he missed it.
Goodwin, another big kick. Black knocks the ball up the ground about 20 metres. McLeod, even he lost his footing. Back to Black. A very high ball. Might bring more rain. Lappin juggles. Mark Payne right in front.
Oh, gee, you'd have to say the Crows played with his fist at first. Well, if they didn't play, it was a goal to Voss.
Voss was darting off to the goal.
Yeah, fair enough. Point taken. This Tyson Edwards get his fist to the ball there? I reckon he might have got a hand on that. Immaterial, though, because Voss would have kicked a goal, although the Crows players stopped, of course.
So Nigel Lappin, who's kicked 3 behinds tonight, no goals.
That's not allowed. Not allowed to grab the towel. And he was told by the umpire. Too late.
So distance about 30 metres right in front. And he gets his first.
You love having the power of God at your fingertips.
Imagine if the world's deadliest weapon fell into enemy hands. John Travolta and Christian Slater.
God damn, what a rush!
Broken Arrow, Sunday, 8:30 on 7. A murder mystery comes to Ward 17.
I never meant to kill him.
A man who swears self-defense.
He was pointing a gun at me.
One nurse knows the truth.
Hey, Steph, call the police, all right? I wish I'd taken them both out.
All Saints, Tuesday on 7.
Nigel Lappin becoming the 9th goal kicker. So we talked about where the goals are going to come from for the Lions. They've shared them around, and they now have a very comfortable lead. And those matchups have been, well, Voss and Goodwin has been an enthralling battle. Back with the action. Calthorpe is now picking up prosciutto as Andrew Evans picks himself up. Still 12 minutes in the game. If you could get a couple of quick goals, you would not be out of it. But the way the game has been played...
I don't know if you boys are trying to get me, but I've lost my battery, so I'm just at this stage dead.
Curls, we're happy to leave you down there. A lot of people would have said that a few years ago, Curls. Don't ring us, we'll ring you. But as we move back to White, who decides that he wants to punch it forward, not happy with what was happening, Champion beats Bassett to the ball quite comfortably. Man swings around, but swings it the wrong way, goes off the side, out on the full.
He's kicked it into the social club where he wants to be in about 45 minutes' time.
There's still a bit of time left in the football match, though.
Kick by Stevens, back to centre wing. That's pretty good distance with that. Lambert once again has played a magnificent game. Back to Lepage. And a punch by Edwards straight in the arms of Keating, who's sitting there on the bench.
Yeah, Lambert, particularly after half-time, Drew, he really has worked his way into the game, and I think it's significant. That's when Brisbane started to develop their ascendancy.
Lambert's statistics, 7 kicks, 12 hand passes. And there he is at the floor of the pack again, sliding in.
We're back on air now.
We've got you.
Yeah, Matty, I think you made a comment before the game that you watched the Lions train this week and you're very happy the way they went about it.
Yeah, they did train very well, in particular on Friday, their last training session. Very crisp, very sharp, and very enthusiastic. And I think it's shown here this evening, especially in comparison to their game against Port Adelaide last week. McRae, who's been terrific, 27 possessions, McRae. Here, it's Eccles. Crows now trying to mount something. Going back is Huskus. Marking is Huskus. Well, he's been very good all day. For most of the first half, he didn't have an opponent as the Crows were playing extra play on the ball. He's had young David Gallagher since half-time. He's just a bit too tall for him. He's had plenty of the ball. This will be his 16th possession. He's a wonderful reader of the play on that half-back line. Comes off of Lappin. Bickley. Prosciutto. Some experience there for the Crows. Bickley found himself running forward. Short. Good kick. Finds McLeod. So 3 of the stars for the Crows, if you like, there. Prosciutto, Bickley, and then to this man, who, as we know, is an absolute star. Well, he hasn't stopped trying all night. He's been in it right from the very first bounce. A little bit quieter, I think, since half-time. So, with the margin at 35 points, Andrew McLeod, very important kick, as we see. That's where he's kicking from, that angle there. But he's pushed it wide, pushed it right across. Benke couldn't get his hands on it, and so no score to the Crows. So since half-time, the Crows have actually only scored once, 1 solitary goal.
Right up for the Crows after they've led by 2 points at the long break. Clark gets the ball back out of bounds. Well, Cornsey, there'll be a big audience watching this in Adelaide tonight. Port Power came up here last year and got the points.
Last week.
No, last week.
Yes.
And the Premiers won't get the points here tonight. So big bragging rights leading up to Showdown 5, which is not far away.
Oh, that's going to be a very, very big game. Interesting. A lot of people in Adelaide understanding the Crows aren't playing anywhere near as well as they can, but they have been grafting out wins. This is probably a better reflection of how they're going at the moment.
Leppich forward of the wing. McRae, a good juggle. He runs it to 40 metres, keeps it low. Good hands, well done by Stevens, who got back to the goal square.
And I think the trip to Brisbane is always a hard one. And the Lions made the point that having played in Perth the week before, that they were still a bit flat. They thought that game against West Coast had taken something out of them. They've freshened up this week, obviously. They are much, much sharper this week than they were last week.
Long kick straight down the middle. Clark will set himself to punch back as Pittman sets himself to punch forward. Gallagher was in the right spot. Bassett, only as far as Calthorpe. Bangs it back towards Voss. In front, good punch by Burton now. There's Lambert. What can he muster here? Voss, well tackled by Bickley. Voss gets it forward. Lambert with a miraculous. Not to beat Craig Lambert.
Yes, it looks like Brett Burton's gone under Michael Voss and Simon Goodwood's having a rest. Similarly, Troy Bonder's on the bench and Darryl Wintle is in the forward pocket for the Crows. So Malcolm White's still trying to find something there, but maybe a little bit too late giving those underdone players a rest.
Yeah, Graham, I think it's a bit like looking for Lazarus Reeve. He's in real trouble. But Voss, gee, I love watching him. He's just so team-orientated.
Well, Bassett's kick just floats and wobbles and drops into the arms of White.
Yeah, he's better today, isn't he? It's only his third mark, but he's been busy. He's set up a couple of goals. And is he going for the talk? Let's have a look. It's just a good diving mark, though. He's looking at the drop punt. He's kicked from 55.
He's likely to pass it off, I think.
There's a spot for him.
Right in the middle, that is perfect. And he just waited and waited until O'Brien said, "I'll take it."
Now, you picked that, Matthew Campbell. What were the warning signs? You picked the short kick.
Darryl White outside 50 will always go short.
And there was just too much looseness there. How that player was able to get by himself.
Not a Crows player in the shot.
Simon O'Brien.
So O'Brien.
Shane O'Brien, I'm sorry. His mum and dad will be unhappy with me renaming him.
He kicked his first career goal in the third quarter and lining up now for his second. I don't think Malcolm will be panicking yet. Far too early in the season for that. O'Brien's kick with distance and accuracy. A ripper.
If you've been thinking about escaping the hustle and bustle of the city, you'd better see the new Pajero Escape quick. Because with its powerful 3.5-litre V6, cruise control, alloy wheels, side steps, air conditioning, power windows and CD player, it's such great value that from only $40,990, everyone can afford to escape. It is Mitsubishi.
Shane O'Brien joining Craig McRae and Michael Voss with 2 goals each. Margin now 43 points. But in these conditions, you feel it's beyond the Crows. Lawrence ducking out of trouble, forcing it forward. Pittman does well for the big man to quickly get his kick away. That's a good mark by McLeod. He's gone short. He's got Johnson. Will he play on? Thought about it, but no. But he's outside the 50. So still, perhaps the distance too far for him with a heavy ball.
Well, he hasn't had much football himself.
He's gone for it. Gone for the torpedo. Almost going to get there, but only one behind. So that's only their second score in their second half. And, well, we've got just over 8 minutes remaining in this game.
Oh, that's incredible. In not much short of an hour of football, just 1 goal won for the reigning premiers.
I think it's more indicative of the fact that too many of their players, Drew, are underdone. And it's been said in Adelaide for a couple of weeks now that they have been underdone. Too many players have not had enough football, and you'd sense that was going to catch up with them at some stage, and you come up against a fresher, focused Lions in Brisbane. It's perhaps always going to be a danger game.
Gallagher, the youngster, drafted last October, drives it to full forward, flips off the hands. Can it work through? Oh, Jarman. breaks the tackle. Nobody on the goal line. The kick by Jarman. It is. Oh, bounces for a goal. Great stuff.
Here's a couple who bought a renovator's delight. While they're proud of the breakthrough they made,
Put in some French doors and then pave the courtyard.
not everybody shares their vision. And here's the Mitre 10 specialist.
Let's start with Accent. It's good value. It's their own brand. Great range of colours.
From the store that understands it's not just the low price, it's getting the right advice that really saves you money.
You can see it, can't you, darling?
Yeah. It'll come.
Darren Jarman with his 4th goal, and no disrespect to some wonderful players in the AFL, but perhaps he was one of the only players that could have kicked the goal in that fashion. Lyons looking to clear it out of the centre again. Smart off the ground. Eccles.
Hit it fat again.
He's got to change the clubs. Here's McRae. No, Eccles again just finding the boundary line.
Well, Nigel Smart, another one of those players who didn't have much football pre-season and was very limited in his preparation. You've seen a couple of times tonight where instead of taking the chance and staying down and going to pick the ball up, he's elected to kick the ball off the ground. And I know it's wet weather, but probably the sign of a player without a lot of confidence in his fitness either.
Pittman grabs it out of the air. Smother affected there by Chris Scott. Butters up. Back to McRae. Possession number 30 to Craig McKay. Number 25 finds the boundary line.
Matty, since they've tightened up on Jarman up forward after quarter time, there just hasn't been a Crows forward that stood up and has been a dominant player. The Brisbane Lions backman, and they just shut him right down.
Well, he's kicked 4 of the 8 curls, and Troy Bond's kicked 2, and one of them perhaps a little fortunate. So he has been the dominant forward. Gallagher loses his jumper courtesy of the Calthorpe tackle. Costa around the body quickly. Going back was Benke almost taking the mark to get another boundary throw in.
You see the kick from Costa's being used mainly at the half-forward flank. You feel perhaps his true value is in the centre of the ground, and there's been Lambert and McRae who've been very busy for the Lions. Maybe his role would be better on one of those, but McRae started on McLeod and he's actually run him off his feet at the stage.
Costa couldn't get Boots the ball. Eustace gets it across to Lappin. Very high one. Straight up there.
Hit him on the head.
Ashcroft straight through a big pack. Danny Dickfoss on the forward line. Here he is with Bassett. And the ball beats them over the line, and there's Curls really getting his first touch for the night.
And Bassett has been good tonight, has he been? Oh, there you go, Curls.
It just goes to show the importance of Matthew Robin, though, to this Crows side. He's been well beaten by Kennedy tonight, and they've struggled going through there.
Yeah, well, last week he took 11 or 12 marks. Tonight, none. 6 possessions.
In there was Rashudo, also Huskus and Benke.
Probably not the conditions for centre-half forward. We've seen at the other end of the ground, Champion's been busy, but probably hasn't done too much more. Is it, well, 7 kicks, 6 handballs.
Well, we've got Danny Dickfoss there at the moment, and there'd be a certain section of this Brisbane crowd realise that it's Danny's 64th game. He's still yet to kick a goal. And he's run into an open goal a couple of times and managed to squander it. It's a bit of a local folklore here.
And we might have a bit of fun in the last 6 minutes, eh?
Well, I was at the MCG when Duncan Kellaway kicked his first goal in league football. I don't think I've ever heard a louder roar from the Tigers supporters. Richard Champion, who does in fact like kicking goals. He made his name, I guess, as a fullback, but in the last couple of seasons has found himself on the forward line. Kicked 21 goals for the Lions last year.
He's not an instinctive forward, but he certainly works hard there.
Pittman. Calthorpe. Gets an effective kick back towards Dick Foss. In the right spot was Malloy, and he just scrambles it forward.
We'll stay with Dick Foss, but is that Champion?
Jared Malloy.
Malloy, yes.
Champion's down a bit here. I don't know how bad he is. He's
it was a clash and the ball was being spoiled. You see, well, goes courageously, but both Bassett and Dick Foss coming at him. I think he's just ended up the front. When the pain goes, he'll be right.
Bassett got up high, didn't he?
Well, I don't think Danny's going to have an easy job. Nathan Bassett has played very well for the Crows tonight.
Bree's kick almost comes back to get a goal. Wonderful kick by Shane O'Brien. 2 goals, 1. Champions off and running. That's good to see. Bassett kicks in with distance this time. Johnson getting it away from Dick Foss. Oh, Johnson soccers off the crowd out of bounds on the full, and Danny's chase was worthwhile.
Good pressure from him.
Half-distance pass up to Lappin. Good run by Scott. Lappin brings it inboard. Kicks it long. Chance for Malloy. Yes! He made hard work of it. He did it the hard way, but he was by himself, and Lappin saw the player there, put it up. It was a beautiful pass. And Malloy just able to hold the player out. We see the completion of the kick there, and he's just holding. One-hander. That's flirting with danger, boys. You can do it when you're 4 or 5 goals in front. That's his first goal for the night.
Yeah, what was it? Cartons of Solid Bitter.
$23.99.
Price of dual cards, $8.99.
Cartons of West End Light.
$18.99. Seaview Champagne, $6.99. Or $72 a dozen.
Johnny Walker Red, $26.99, and a chance to win a trip to Scotland.
See you there, Johnny. If you like to sip and you want to save, you can't go past your local Sip and Save.
Well, that'll be a much happier coach this week, looking on with a 43-point margin. Could equalise his season, if you like, at 2-2. Forward go the Crows. Kennedy with a fist to it. Ackermanis first there. Torp and Shepherd provided by Lepich. Swings it back rather adventurously, really, because the Crows seem to have that part of the field covered. McRae's on the up give was superb. Ashcroft, slow motion, in fact, draws the player to his friend and partner in crime, Kennedy. Long. Smart got up high. Falls for Lawrence. He weaves through a bit of traffic to Malloy, to Black. Black grabs it well, kicks it well. Goal Black. Well done, the young fella. That's his third goal. Admittedly, he's on the end of the chain of hand passes, but good movement from Brisbane's defence. Controlled the ball all the way down the ground, and a couple of very strong. See, Champion in front. A very, very instinctive hand pass, an attacking pass from Lawrence. Quick hands out by Malloy, and he's pretty happy. Simon Blackie came in for the injured Sean Hart, finds himself with 3 goals and a pretty impressive performance. Back in the middle. Well, Mick McGuan this week came up with an expression, downhill skiers. And I tell you, I reckon Brisbane had about 12 downhill skiers in that move. They were all looking to score the goal. Well, it's one of those days where everyone's going downhill. White with a very muddy football. Malloy couldn't take the mark. Might get another chance at it. Turns blind. Gives up the hand pass to McLeod. White. Jarman back in midfield. To Benke. Pulled off his kick. Great tackle by White. It spills to Lepich. The line's tearing them apart at the moment. Black. Centering kick. Not bad. Voss, look at Michael Voss go. And crunch down goes Smart. The umpire will throw that in the air, 40 metres out right in front. Yeah, well done both players, because Nigel Smart saw him coming and Michael Voss saw him there. Both players maintain their drive at the ball. Good run for a man back from a broken leg. Ball up now again. Off the ground. Getting in there was James, who, from his point of view, averaging 22 possessions a game. He's certainly dropped out of the game. There's no doubt about that. Just a 9 tonight.
Matty, I think the Brisbane Lions have been a bit stronger at the ball in amongst the packs there. They've certainly controlled that area for most of the night.
Certainly in their forward line, both Malloy and Voss have been hard at the ball, as well as Champion, who now finds himself on the end of that pass. A little too far out to score, though I did say that once before when he made a fool of me. That's a bad kick. Well, he kicked the lead, and Bassett has been very, very strong for the Crows. Certainly reliable. He's filled in the gap.
And Graham, you've got the stats up there. 2 players that have been well beaten tonight, and I thought they would have done very well in these conditions. Rashudo and James. Yeah, Mark Rashudo's just had, well, he's had 18 possessions, kills, 10 handballs, 10 kicks, 8 handballs, and Brett James just 6 kicks and 3 handballs. So Rashudo did spend the first half running around with Jeff White, though, and I thought did a pretty good job on him. Darryl White? Darryl White, I'm sorry. Jeff White. Would have been hard for Jeff to play 2 games. But anything's possible. Here's Lawrence. Steve Lawrence from 30 metres. Goal!
Where are
Adelaide's eligible men.
I think they're very hard to find.
In a 7 nightly news special report, what are women looking for in men?
We expect a lot more and we want a lot more.
And why can't they find it? Wanted, Adelaide's eligible men, Monday at 6.
These people have just won on Australia's richest quiz show.
Monday night, we're ready to put $1 million on the line again.
Call this number now, and Monday on 7, $1 million chance of a lifetime could be yours.
Lee Matthews looking on. Who would have thought they'd get a percentage booster out of this? They came into the game with a percentage of 122, which was all down to their 89-point flogging of St Kilda in round 1. They'd lost their last 2 games. But at one stage, Adelaide kicked 5 goals to 0, and early in the second quarter, you couldn't have predicted that this game would be so one-sided. Getting back in defence is Ackermanis.
He's been very, very good, both as a defender and as a running player as well.
Now Scott. Just over a minute remaining.
Marcus Ashcroft again. He's found so much space.
He's got Danny Dickfoss up here unmarked. He goes in that direction. He has to camp underneath it. Oh, good mark.
Have a shot, son.
I don't think he can score from there. He's on the wing. 43 seconds left. Danny, follow up. Pittman gets back and waits for Bickley, who drops one. Comes to Champion, but he was pushed. Free kick to the Crows skipper.
Not enough. Not talking from David Pittman there. Both players set themselves to the ball. David Pittman realised that Mark was in a better position, but didn't drive him into the contest strongly enough. Fortunately, he's got the free kick.
Oh, 55 points the margin. It was only 2 points the margin at half-time, and that was to the Adelaide Crows. We thought perhaps that it would be very tight for the rest of the game, considering these conditions. But they've been relentless, the Lions. As Voss finds McRae, he's had a wonderful night. He plays on. The kick, the mark, Richard Champion.
Well, he's been very, very good, Richard Champion. We speak about him not being an instinctive forward, but he's put himself in front. He's attacked strongly. He's kept his feet when he's had to. And a desperate lunge by Bassett, not enough to create the spoil.
So he's kicked 1 goal this evening, and he's looking to really make it a great finish from the Lions' point of view, to make it 14 of the last 17 goals to be kicked by the Lions. After they trailed by 2, he snuck it through, Richard Champion. So a resounding victory to the Lions here at the Gabba. They've won this game quite convincingly in the end. A terrific second half where they've kicked virtually 11 goals to the Crows 2. And they're celebrating now. Darren Jarman there, who kicked 4 goals. It was really the only forward the Crows had up forward. But a marvellous performance. Neil Curley down on the ground with Michael Voss.
Yeah, thanks, Matty. Well, Michael, a good win.
Oh, sorry, yeah,
a great win.
Great win. It was important for us for our season. And in wet conditions, you know, we're probably a little bit suspect in the hard balls last week, and we want to prove ourselves that we could do it.
Started well. They came back at you, took the game away from you. Yep. Half-time, Lee must have said something.
Well, actually, the second quarter, we're working our butts off. You know, like in the forward 50, we're just scrapping away. We probably didn't get our just desserts. And Lee just said, look, keep going, keep it going. Eventually, it'll come your way. And that's what we did, and it managed to fall our way.
Got on top in the ruck, too, in the third quarter.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, having Clark Keating to back up Doc is just a huge bonus, because you're always going to have fresh ruckmen. So it's great.
Well played, great win. Enjoy yourself.
Fantastic.
Thank you, Drew.
On you, girls. That is a remarkable victory. It finished up being a 10-goal belting, and the Crows' only loss this year was to the Bulldogs at home by 13 points. And even if you can concede that they're missing all sorts of players like Wren, Vardy, Marsh, Ellen, Connell, Caven, Hart, you don't want to get beaten by 10 goals. I don't Brisbane by last year's wooden spoons.
You don't, Drew, but there's some games I think you just sort of play, and if you don't win, well, you can just put them aside. I think a trip to Brisbane is a little bit like that. There was no doubt the Brisbane Lions set themselves to start well tonight. They did that. They kicked the first 3 goals. The Crows worked their way back into the game, but there was too much on this game for the Lions. They have to go to Perth next week to play Fremantle at Subiaco. So this was a very important game. They were disappointing last week. They were perhaps tired and lethargic. I think it was a tremendous preparation by Lee Matthews to set them to start the game well. The Crows, on the other hand, probably just came into the game thinking, well, they're in reasonable form. They've had a couple of wins under the belt. Brisbane had been hammered, so maybe they weren't quite to the pitch mentally that they needed to be. A good performance in the end by the Lions, though.
I wonder in how many competitions in the world would the wooden spooner beat the Premier a month into the following season by that sort of, belt?
So there's so many different factors involved. I mean, the travel factor is significant here when you are travelling to Brisbane. And then there's all the other factors that come in. How well prepared are the Crows at the moment? Too many of their players missed the majority of the pre-season. There's a couple of players coming back, like Bond and Goodwin, playing basically a half a game of football last week. And whilst they were good early, you felt they dropped out. The fact that Wren is not available and relies so much on Pittman. When Pittman went off the ground, there was a significant lift in the Lions' fortune. So I think the Australian rules is such a unique game because it's not controlled by one or two players in the team. I mean, it is the consummate team game, and therefore there's too many variables.
Well, they shared the load, didn't they, the Lions, as far as the goalkeeping goes. So I think if you look at the second half, they I guess, as you say, better prepared, but prepared to work hard to get in front, to do the things, and they wanted to win more, and then began to share the load and began to run and play that instinctive forward game you do when you get on top.
Well, the run was the key word. They ran spontaneously, and they ran more confidently, and in fact, they ran longer than the Crows did. Now, that's the young fellow...
Tim Notting on crutches there.
Ankle problem. We didn't see him do his ankle, but it must have been serious because he came off the ground and took no further part. Jared Malloy there worked very, very hard. Kicked one goal, but he's farmed out 11 handballs, and I think that's what they would like to see. He appears to try and do things a little bit flashily at times, but there's no doubt he's got a strong body and a fierce attack on the ball, and he can establish a presence. Oh, they're going to enjoy this. Let's wait for everybody to get in, they say. David Calthorpe, does he know the words, Matthew?
Well, we were up here a couple of weeks ago. We were looking at Lee to know the words, weren't we, Drew? And let's see if Lee joins in this time. He reckons he rehearsed it in the summer.
I just don't think it's a place for coaches, though. The winner's laugh. I think it is a time for players.
How can a humble spud help thousands of seriously ill children? Come to McDonald's during McHappy Month, and 10 cents from Australia's favourite large fries goes to help our small fry. Although Duff Creek has always been home to the onion, locals are only too aware that it's also the home of onion breath. Until now, thanks to longer-lasting PK, there's a change in the air. The clean, fresh taste of PK lasts even longer, so your breath stays fresh even longer. PK for even longer-lasting fresh breath.
I have cooked in many kitchens over the years, and without doubt, Albertson kitchens are among the very best. Stunning designs, magnificent workmanship, and incredible attention to detail, all in superb finishes. The finest timbers, laminates, granites, and stainless steel. Call Albertson. They'll come to your home and completely design your dream kitchen at the price you'd want to pay. Albie Turner and Son, they are my first choice in kitchens. They're fantastic.
The best ever Australian album. 40 of our greatest hits on 2 CDs. Australia's greatest acts together for the first time.
Don't make me feel like I'm a woman anymore.
40 legendary songs on 2 CDs. The who's who of Australian music. Find them all here. The best ever Australian album from the best ever series. Out now.
It's your birthday next week.
You remembered.
It says here we'll be eligible for a 10% discount on our home and motor insurance policies.
Ask about SGIC's 10% discount for customers over 55.
More buyers, more sellers, every day Australia-wide.
Thank you, Mr. Hooker.
And welcome back to the Gabba. Well, in the Crows' 2 wins this year, they trailed both games at half-time. Tonight they led at half-time and finished up being beaten by 61 points. They led by 2 at the long break, and eventually the Lions ran away with it with 11 goals to 2 in the second half to win handsomely 17-13 to 8 goals 6. The leading goal kickers, well, Black kicked 3 for the Lions, and in total they had 11 goal kickers, 2 each to Voss, McRae, Champion and O'Brien, and Darren Jarman kicked 4 goals, 3 in the first quarter for the Crows, and Bond kicked 2 goals.
The 1999 Coca-Cola AFL Premiership season, proudly brought to you by Telstra, making life easier. The McDonald's Footy Burger, the double quarter pounder with cheese, Victoria Bitter for a hard-earned thirst, and the new Mitsubishi Magna 3.5, the next generation.
Well, the Lions did it tonight without the services of Alistair Lynch. They haven't had him all season yet, and here he is down talking with Curls.
Yeah, thanks, Drew. Well, it's never good watching, but you would have enjoyed watching tonight.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I think it was a great opportunity to play the Crows. They'd sort of had a couple of players out, and early in the year we felt we could take them up here at home, and certainly played very well, especially in the second half, I thought.
You didn't get through training this week to make yourself available, but how did you see training this week?
I think training was certainly up on last week in comparison, but the guys trained very well, and certainly I fell a couple of minutes short, but the rest of the guys got through very well, and it was a very spirited training session which took it out onto the field, especially in that first 10 minutes.
Where do you think the Lions won it tonight? Any particular areas?
Pretty well all over the field were pretty good. The defence was very good, but I think you look at the guys that come off the bench like Calthorpe and Black especially. I mean, they played very well. Black kicking 3 goals was a great strength for us. To be able to bring those sort of guys off the bench and do good jobs is a great asset.
Your skipper, Michael Voss, he really is a true captain, isn't he?
Oh, yeah, fantastic. I mean, firstly, to come back from the serious injury has been one thing, but to play just a real leadership game there at full forward, and he kicked a couple of great goals for us at the right times, and just sort of led by example and was great for the guys.
McRae was a good, valuable player tonight for you?
Very good. I mean, he gets the ball and kicks the ball so long, he just, especially in these conditions, it's so penetrating to have a guy that still can kick at 55 metres.
And you feel like you might just miss one more?
Yeah, I think because I've been chasing my tail the last couple of weeks trying to get on the field, I think we'll probably give it one more and make sure it's knocked over totally, and let's hope for the rest of the year.
Good luck for 99, Alistair.
Thanks,
back to you, boys.
Thanks. Well, it'll be great to get Lynchy back, and it'll make them pretty strong. So it's a totally different outfit from last year.
Yeah, but he's important to them because against the stronger sides, they're a little bit short in attack and also a bit short in defence. So he's one of those players who can fill both roles. And plus a tragedy that he's not been able to play more football. Didn't miss him tonight, though. They were very, very good, the Brisbane Lions. They started the game very well. They allowed, or the Crows...